A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Five bells. Stand by all stations.
Attention, all districts. A 5-alarm fire. 5 bells. Move in immediately.
That's it. Let's go. Let's go. Firefighters.
Presenting Firefighters, the true-to-life story of our unsung heroes who stand ready to ride by day or night against our most murderous enemy, the demon of fire. In just a moment, we'll join Chief Cody and Tim Collins at the fire which has just brought them closer to solving the mystery which has been troubling them. For, as they hoped, it has smoked out the missing man, Tim Collins' friend and buddy on the rescue company, Private Mushnosky. But before we find out what caused his strange disappearance, let's pause a moment for a special message for you. Let's go, firefighters. Let's go to the edge of the crowd watching the blaze, the group of people which in turn had been so carefully watched by the young rookie fireman Tim Collins. And just when he about decided his plan to smoke out mush had failed, who should he see half hidden in a doorway but Mushnosky himself? Calling his discovery to Chief Cody's attention, the chief calls out.
You're right, Tim. It is Mushnosky. Get him before he gets away.
Yes, sir. Mush! Mush! It's me, Tim Collins.
Yeah. How did you... I thought I was undercover.
Oh, for gosh sakes, Mush, we've been looking everywhere for you. Thank goodness we found you.
Do me a favor, will you just let me disappear again?
No, not on your life. Sergeant McGurk has had the whole police force scouring the city for you. Look, you've got some questions to answer, and the sooner you get them over, the better for you.
I don't want any part of the police. That's one of the reasons I blew.
Look, Mush, this is for your own good. Now, come on, will you?
Well, Mushnosky, it's high time you showed up. You're in a jam, son, and I want to talk to you. Come on, let's go over to my car and have a heart-to-heart talk. And if the fire department means anything to you, you've got plenty to say. We'll have a little privacy sitting in the back of my car. Come on, get in. It's a tough break you're bumping into me like you did. Tough? It may be the luckiest day of your life, Mushnosky.
Yeah, and it wasn't exactly a break either, Mush. We figured an old hook and ladder man like you couldn't resist a fire if you were still anywhere in the neighborhood.
You see, son, you men in the rescue companies are picked not only for brains and brawn, but because you've gone through the mill, piled up plenty of experience, and because your work is your whole life.
Maybe you should say it was, Chief.
Well, that all depends, son. If you're mixed up in that counterfeiting racket...
I'm not, Chief Cody. Believe me, I'm not. But that's all I can say.
Oh, that's bad, Mush. When you add it to your running away like you did, Detective Sergeant McGurk is plenty suspicious of you.
I knew I'd be dragged into this the minute we found those plates that had been thrown off the dock into the water.
Yeah, plates to be used in making counterfeit money.
You know, Mush, I think you're protecting someone in your family.
How the dickens could you know that, Hooksy?
Well, you weren't there when the chief talked to Sergeant McGurk.
You see, the police have been trying to locate this counterfeiting plant. And they got pretty close to it the other night when they tailed a runner. That is, a person they knew was delivering new plates to the plant.
Yeah, but he gave him the slip. Now we know he ditched those funny money plates by tossing them in the drink.
Okay, but how do the cops tie me into this?
They don't, exactly. But that runner was named Stanislaus Mushnosky, son. Any relation?
Yeah, my cousin. So now you know.
Oh, Mush, I could swear you didn't know anything about this.
I didn't when we first found those plates. And then I got to thinking about that tweed coat they were wrapped up in, Tim.
You knew it was your cousin's?
Well, not then, but I suspected. When I went home, I found out for sure.
Yeah, we checked up on that too, Mush.
Why didn't you report that to Sergeant McGurk instead of running away? That's what makes it look bad.
Well, Chief, my record means a lot to me, and I'm sure enough in Dutch if I don't find Stanislaus and make him talk.
Well, then you've been looking for your cousin, Mush.
Yeah. No luck. He's vanished into thin air.
Well, why is he so important if you're not mixed up in this?
Well, years ago, I worked for a carnival. So did my cousin. He and his pals used me to pass off some of that phony dough on the customers.
Oh, you're kidding. I know you better than that. You're a square guy if I ever met one.
Thanks, Hooksy. I was just dumb then. As soon as I found out what they were doing, I quit my job and cleared out. And I got my start with the fire department.
You know, Mosnowski, I believe that.
Yeah, but Sergeant McGurk won't. By now he's looked into my cousin's record. He'll find mention of me. How do you think that'll make my good record with the department look?
Gee, Chief Cody, we've got to help Mush find his cousin.
I've already tried. It's no go, Tim. I'm sorry, Chief. He's the only guy in the world who can clear me.
Well, we'll see. There's no question of what to do, son. You'll have to have a talk with the police. Oh, here's Vito, my driver.
I'll resign as of now, Chief. I'd hope not to drag the department into this.
Well, now, you hold that for the time being, son. Vito, Fire Department Telegraph Bureau, and make it fast.
Oh, but Sergeant McGurk isn't there, Chief.
Now, look, Tim. Police Department has my full cooperation, but I'm responsible for handling fires in the city. And I've got to make up for lost time before I do anything else.
Oh, I get it, sir. The Telegraph Bureau is the nerve center of the department, naturally, and so you
Yes,
can...
and right now I want a clear picture of what's going on in the entire city. After that, we'll see. Let's roll, Vito.
A few minutes later, Chief Cody and the rookie fireman stand before a great map of the city, dotted with small colored lights, which at a glance tells the chief the exact location of all fire apparatus and company.
You'll notice, Tim, that the dispatcher sent out 2 companies in the Northeast District.
Oh, will that cover the situation there, sir?
Well, since there wasn't another alarm, yes. Well, looks like you missed a call with the rescue company.
Well, how can you tell that, sir?
That light down toward the edge.
Huh?
Yeah, that's where they're located at the minute. Well, I needed you more than they do.
Yes, I would. Gee, I wish Mushnowski would take a look at this.
Oh, let him sit over there by himself, Tim.
Yes, sir.
You can't blame him for feeling kind of low. Uh-oh, there's an alarm coming in now. 2. 10. That's 200, Tim. And 3. Alarm box 203.
Well, would you look at that? Seconds after somebody pulled the lever, that man's got out his information card on that particular box.
Yeah. Watch him check it with the dispatcher.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now look at your map, and you'll see the destination of that company that he just called out.
Yeah, so I see. Box 62, huh?
Wait a minute. 62? I must be getting old.
What's the matter, Chief Cody?
Well, that alarm box is at the foot of the Tennacombe Towboat Company's dock, where we found those counterfeiters' plates.
Oh, say, that's a coincidence.
Come on, Tim. Come on, Mush.
Huh?
Exactly 8 minutes later, Chief Cody's car rolls out to the end of the dock and slides into place beside the rescue company truck. Quickly, the 3 men join the figures standing at the edge of the wharf. And, to their surprise, the first person they see is Sergeant McGurk.
Well, the place is getting crowded with smoke eaters. Hiya, Chief Cody. Hiya, Collins. Hello, Sergeant. What's going on here?
Hello, Sergeant.
Nothing the police can't take care of, Chief. You can send your outfit back to their checker games.
Let's be serious a minute, McGurk. Has somebody been drowned?
Looks that way. You see that police launch coming toward the dock?
Yeah?
They just fished a guy out of the water a few yards from here.
I see. How long had he been in? Got any idea?
Too long. If your alarm came in the same time as mine. Say, another guy with you. Who's...
You guessed it. Private Mushnowski.
Musnowski. Why didn't you tell me before? We've been moving heaven and earth to find you, young fella.
Yeah, so I hear.
You're in a spot now with plenty of explaining to do.
Oh, look, Sergeant, if Mush had known those plates were in the water, if he'd been mixed up in that racket, do you think he'd have been with us when we found him?
Take it easy, Tim.
That's okay, Chief. They're friends. They were working together as a team in the red diver's suit and the pump when you dragged that evidence out.
Forget it, Sergeant.
Huh?
Tim isn't mixed up in this in any way at all, and you know it.
Yeah, and how about you, Musnowski?
I'm not either. Sure, I know you've been on to my cousin for a long time. I know you think I was mixed up with
Can
it.
you prove you weren't?
No. Not unless I find Stanislaus.
That chance of that, he's taking it on the land.
McGurk, they don't come any fairer and squarer than you. I want you to hear Mushnowski's whole story.
Well, I want to, Cody. As soon as we find out what happened here. And I'm sorry he's one of your men, because it looks bad.
Right now, we'll lend you a hand getting that fellow off the police launch. The deck is level with the dock here, Tim.
Yeah, all right, Chief. I'll hop aboard and lift him off to you.
All right.
It's too dark to see what we're doing. Hey, turn that searchlight on so we can see what we're doing.
That's better, Sergeant. Here, let me give you a hand lifting him off, Tim. All right. Poor fellow. He sure looks a goner.
Careful now.
All right.
Lay him down in the light. That's it. Now let's...
Well, How do you like that? Take a look, Mushnowski.
I am.
What's the matter, Mush? You look like you'd seen a ghost.
He has, in a way. He's recognized his cousin Stanislaus. And for that matter, so have I. Any heartbeats? Is he breathing? No, Chief, he isn't. If your man, Private Mushnowski, had an idea his cousin would clear him of suspicion, he can forget it right now.
The one person in the world who can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that Tim Collins' friend has no connection with the counterfeit gang dead? That's what the burly detective had just said. But before he has time to wonder aloud how Private Mushnowski's cousin got into the water, he looks at the fireman in startled surprise. At a glance from Chief Cody, Tim Collins races toward the rescue company truck while his buddy drops on his knees to start immediate artificial respiration on his cousin. To find out if they can bring a so-called dead man back to life, listen to our next exciting episode of the Firefighters. In just a moment, Chief Bob Cody will tell you, boys and girls, how you can help the firefighters in your own town. But first, here's a message for you. And now, Chief Bob Cody with a special notice for the Firefighters Brigade. Chief Cody.
Hello, boys and girls. This is Chief Cody again with an assignment for you to remember next time you help your father rake those dead leaves in the yard. Naturally, dry leaves have to be cleaned up, and most of you probably get a lot of fun out of burning them. Make sure those leaves are burned in a wire basket or a metal container. You don't want them scattering fire. And be on the alert every minute till the job is done. That is all. So long for now.
Fire Chief Cody and the young rookie fireman Tim Collins will be back on the same station the next time you hear...
That's it. Let's go! Let's go! Firefighters!
Harding, Counterspy, calling Washington. David Harding, Chief, United States Counterspies, especially appointed to investigate and combat the enemies of our country, both at home and abroad, and to secure for every American the rights which are his under our Constitution.
Have you? Aunt Mary, where are you?
In here, child. What's the matter?
Oh, thank heavens. Oh, gee, I was afraid you'd leave before I got home, and I've got something for Uncle Bill.
Oh?
Wait, I'll show you. There.
A picture of you.
Of course, it's kind of glamorous, but still it looks more like me than any of those old ones you sent him.
Oh, it's really lovely.
Now at least Uncle Bill will recognize me when he sees me for the first time.
I'm sure he would anyway.
Aunt Mary, do you think he'll look the same?
The same as what, Anne? You've never seen him.
Well, I mean, will he look the same to you?
Yes, I think he will.
2 years can change a person a lot. Look at me.
I wonder.
You wonder what, Aunt Mary?
Oh, nothing, Anne. Now, I expect to be gone until Friday, but if the boat should be late getting in, I'll send you a wire.
Oh, don't worry, Aunt Mary. It's only 4 days. I can take care of myself. I'm a big girl now.
Yes, of course you are. A young lady. Well, I'd better be going, or there'll be no one there to meet your Uncle Bill. And I don't think he'd like that.
Police officials, this is a general alarm for Rick Malone, escaped federal prisoner serving a 55-year term for bank robbery. He may be armed, is considered dangerous. He is 5 feet 10 inches tall, blonde hair and blind in right eye, left eye blue, bridge of nose broken, 3-inch knife scar along left side of face. All information about this man is to be transmitted to Counterspy headquarters. We are coordinating the nationwide search for escaped federal prisoner Rick Malone.
Counterspy headquarters, Peter speaking. Oh, good work, Foley.
Give them the usual distribution. Send about 20 copies over here.
The wanted circulars printed already?
Right, Mr. Harding. They ran off an extra 5,000 copies.
Good. Any results on the woman who visited Malone?
Not so far, Chief. We've got 4 agents trying to pick up her back trail.
And what about the letters he smuggled out through that guard he bribed?
Well, that's a funny thing. As far as the guard can remember, they all went to South Africa.
What?
Cape Town, South Africa. I've wired Johnson, our agent in the consulate there, to check on it. Nothing back yet.
South Africa, huh? You alert our seaport officers?
Yes, just in case. But I don't think Malone will try to leave the country, Chief. His face is too easily identified. That bad eye, the scar, this should make it a lot easier for us to pick him up.
Well, not too easy, I hope.
What do you mean?
We recovered practically none of the $250,000 he was convicted of stealing. I'd like him to find that for us before we find him.
That water tower we just passed, Mary, means that we should be getting close to Caldwell, huh?
Another couple of minutes, Bill.
Then we should be coming to that ledge you described.
Just past that curve up ahead on the left side of the road.
Oh.
You're going through with the whole scheme, Bill.
Of course I am. How long do you think I'll be free if this face of mine stays the way it is? Why do you think I had you set up house here with that kid of my brother's?
Suppose something goes wrong. Suppose Dr. Franklin can't do anything for you.
I've read all about him. He can.
What if he suspects something?
If you played your part all right for the last 2 years, he won't. As far as he's concerned, I'll be just Bill Gordon, returning home to his beloved wife, Mary. That cute little niece, Anne.
They'll have descriptions of you all over the country by now. He may recognize you. Slow down, Bill. There's the ledge.
Slow down nothing. Hang on.
Bill, we'll go over the edge.
Bill.
Did that purposely, Mary, so the cops would see the skid marks. Yeah. It's perfect, Mary. I can work myself down to that ledge. And you know what to do with the car. Don't forget to leave it in high gear before you jump. I spent 3 years in the pen for that dough I stashed away. I'm not going to lose out on it for 3 hours of pain. When I get through working over my face with my knife, even you won't recognize me.
Please, Aunt Mary, don't cry.
I should never have let this happen.
Oh, you can't help accidents. Uncle Bill will be all right.
Why are they so long? Why don't they tell us something?
Miss Gordon, good news for you.
You'll be all right, Dr. Franklin?
Yes, it'll take a little time, but when we're finished, you'll be better than you.
Oh, when will he be able to come home, Dr. Franklin?
Well, he can go home in a few days if you get a nurse to take care of him.
That soon?
Oh, I'll take care of him.
Well, I'm sure you would, but we'll need a little bit more expert care than that. And now, if you'll excuse me, I'd like to talk to your aunt for a minute.
Oh, of course, Doctor.
Dr. Franklin, is there anything...
Oh, no. I just want to clear up this point of sending him home. You see, he'll still be under my care for several months to come. His case requires extensive plastic surgery.
There'll be operations?
Yes, quite a few. And he'll have to heal completely between each one. He can do that just as well at home.
Oh, we'll see that he's well taken care of.
One thing more. About his eye.
Yes?
I doubt if there's any sight left, but I'll have an eye specialist look at it. Then we'll see what we can do.
Thank you, Doctor.
And it's going to be a most interesting case. Oh, by the way, about a nurse. Will it be all right if I send out a young woman who's worked with me in a number of cases?
Whatever you say, Doctor.
Her name's Jane Wilton. I think her salary is either $10 or $12 a day. I'll send her around as soon as I send Mr. Gordon home.
Here they are, Chief. The coordinated reports on the Malone escape.
You've gone through them?
Yes, I can give you a fast briefing on it.
Yes, go on. It'll save time.
Well, first, there's the general alarm and description that was broadcast.
Yes.
We got 4 reports that fit a definite pattern.
Huh?
All from diners and roadside stands.
Mm-hmm.
2 on Highway 28 and 2 on Highway 55. And the sequence indicates that if it was Malone, he's heading west and north in the general direction of Ohio and Illinois.
Yes. Well, now, what about those letters to Cape Town, South Africa that Malone smuggled out?
I just got a cable from Johnson in the consulate there. I'll read it to you.
Good.
He says, check on address here. It is commercial mail drop. For a fee, they mail letters from South Africa to any part of the world. Their records incomplete. Wiring list of 14 American addresses they forward mail to. Cable if additional information is desired, Johnson.
And the addresses come in?
Yes, here they are.
Mm-hmm. You'll have them all investigated.
It's already being done on all but 2 of the addresses, Chief.
Right.
I thought we might look into those ourselves.
Oh? Which ones?
Caldwell, Ohio, and Evanston, Illinois. They're both directly in line with the route Malone may be taking if those reports are true.
Well, it's a cinch he won't come to Washington, so we may as well get out into the field. Arrange transportation to Caldwell. We'll direct operations from there until further notice.
We'll continue our David Harding counter-spy case for Old Nick in a moment. Now, back to our Old Nick David Harding counter-spy case.
Miss Wilton?
Yes, Anne.
My uncle wants you.
I'll be right with him. You keep him company till I come.
I don't think he likes my company.
Now, Anne, you've got to understand. It's not comfortable being wrapped up in bandages the way your Uncle Bill is. You have to make allowances if you want to be a nurse.
Well, I'm not sure that I do anymore.
Just because your uncle's a little bit irritable.
Oh, I'd rather be an airline hostess. Travel, go everywhere like Uncle did.
Then I'll get you anyway. Most airline hostesses are registered nurses. Miss Wilden, Mr. Gordon asked for you. Oh, I was just going into him. Now, Anne, keep an eye on that broth. What was that all about, Anne?
Oh, I was just talking to Miss Wilton.
About being a nurse?
Yes.
I think it's a wonderful idea. It'd be nice to do something useful in this world.
I suppose so.
When your uncle's better, we'll see. Maybe there'll be enough money to send you to college so you can take up nursing.
Oh, but you don't have to go to college. Being a high school graduate's enough.
Oh?
Anyway, I don't think Uncle Bill would care enough to send me to college.
Well, what do you mean, Anne, darling?
Oh, nothing.
Mrs. Gordon, Mr. Gordon would like to see you. Right away. And you stay here. I want to talk to you afterwards. How is he? Splendid. He's coming along fine. Just a little bit impatient. Oh, that's good. I'll get his broth.
Close the door, Mary.
All right. What's the matter, Bill?
I'm just going nuts sitting around here.
Well, this is your idea.
It's so dead and quiet. Worse than the pen. There, at least, they keep you from leaving. Here, you got to be your own guard.
And you're not a very good one, Bill.
What do you mean?
Anne, you ought to treat her more like an uncle should.
Well, I can't stand the brat. I never did like kids.
You told me to get her when your brother died.
Yeah, sure. So you could set up a respectable front in this burg. And I'm not sorry I did. No one's going to connect a nice Mr. and Mrs. Gordon and their lovely niece with Rick Malone.
I thought we were forgetting Rick. Burying him.
Of course we are. What do you think I'm putting up with all this for?
But the burial is only skin deep. Is that it?
What?
Nothing. I saw Dr. Franklin.
Yeah? What do you say about the eye?
He's going to start on it next week.
Well, can he match the color? Am I a good one?
He says he can.
Oh.
Something about restoring the color by tattooing.
No, don't tell me. That part I know. Read about it every day for 3 years. How we could make a bad eye look just like the good one by tattooing in the color.
Is that why you picked this town? Because Dr. Franklin practiced here?
Sure, of course. You know, after he does that, maybe we can pull out. And that's the big thing the cops will spot on me, my eye. With that fixed, we can blow this bird. Start enjoying that dough.
Enjoying it?
You bet. Yeah, I'll make up for these 2 years that you were buried in this hick town.
All right, Bill. Only you've been making up for the wrong years.
Looks like we're on the right track, Mr. Harding. Those letters from South Africa went to a Mrs. Mary Gordon and her niece Anne. They supposedly came from her husband, Bill, who's been abroad for 2 years.
2?
Yeah, I checked. Malone was in the pen for 3, but Mr. Gordon just came back a few days ago.
Did you see him?
Sure.
Well, was it?
Chief, for all I know, he could be a dark horse candidate. His whole head is wrapped in bandages. Nobody in this town has seen him. He was in an automobile accident just before he arrived.
Yeah, that'd be a nice cover-up for plastic surgery.
I checked with the local office of the Highway Patrol. There were skid marks on the hill road.
How about the car?
Pretty thoroughly banged up, but still in high gear. Then I talked with the ambulance boys who had removed Gordon from the ledge. They said his face looked like it had been through a meat grinder.
Who's the doctor?
Dr. Carl Franklin.
Franklin? Oh, isn't he the plastic surgeon, the one who specializes in the new method of hiding scars by tattooing?
Might be, Chief. I don't know anything about that.
What about Mary Gordon?
There's no good description of the woman who was with Malone, so I've wired the prison to send along a guard who could identify her.
Oh, good. And check with the state and immigration authorities on the Gordon passport.
Right.
You know, I'd like to get a look at Mr. Gordon.
Well, we can hardly go in and rip off his bandages just on suspicion. I could speak to the doctor.
No, I'd rather not tip our hand. Is Gordon at the hospital?
No, he's home. There's a registered nurse taking care of him.
Nurse, huh?
Well, but asking her would be the same as asking the doctor.
Perhaps not, if we didn't ask her directly.
What do you mean?
Do you know if she was in the Army during the war?
I think so. I could find out.
Yes, do that. Find out what outfit she was with, who she knew in it, and everything you can about her Army career.
What for?
Because you're going to pose as an ex-member of her outfit. Take her out, talk about old times. We may be able to parlay your conversation into a positive identification of Malone.
This has been a wonderful dinner, Mr. Peters. I'm glad you called me before you left town. I don't know when I've enjoyed myself so much.
Well, reminiscences are always fun, Miss Wilton.
Well, it's good to know that everyone in the 97th Evacuation Hospital is making out so well.
Well, you seem to be doing all right.
That's an understatement. There are more nurses now than ever before in the country, and still there aren't half enough to take care of all the work there is.
Don't tell me you have to go back on duty again tonight.
Oh, no. Well, the patient I'm taking care of is a lovely niece. She pinch hits for me nights.
Oh?
I'll make a nurse out of her yet.
Not afraid of competition?
Competition? Heavens, no. The more the better. It just makes it easier all around. Oh, but I'm not keeping you from anything, am I?
Well, I have to be leaving soon. Oh, by the way, I knew there was something I forgot. I've got some pictures here of the old 97. I took them after you left the outfit, but you know some of the people, and I thought you might like to see them.
I'd love to.
Well, let's see now. Here's one of Kriegy.
Mm-hmm.
He's gotten a little fatter since he's out of uniform.
Oh, he's not the only one. Oh, that's Doris. Still as blonde as ever.
Yeah.
Oh, for heaven's sake, this picture.
Huh? Oh, that one. He's just a friend of mine. He wasn't with
I
the
know. He's my patient.
What?
Of all the coincidences.
You mean you know Bill Gordon?
Well, certainly. He's the case I'm on now. Oh, of course, since the accident, he's changed, but I recognize the picture easily.
Well, what do you know?
Your having his picture is somewhat reassuring. His attitude's a little, well, gruff. But I guessed it was just the accident. I'll have to tell him about this.
Tonight?
Oh, it can keep until morning. I'm off duty now.
Well, maybe I'll stick around and see him myself.
You know him well?
Not as well as I'd like to. I'd better arrange for hotel accommodations if I'm going to stay over. If you wait, I'll see you home.
Don't bother. I don't live far from here.
All right. And thanks for a very interesting evening.
Come in. Oh, Mrs. Gordon. Is he awake?
Yeah, of course I am. What do you want?
Oh, I'm sorry to disturb you. I didn't see you standing at the window. I forgot a book I was reading and came back for it.
Forget it.
Thank you. Oh, I thought you'd be interested in knowing there's a friend of yours in town.
What?
A friend? Yes, I had dinner with him. We had mutual friends. He had your picture in his wallet.
My picture?
What was his name? Mr. Peters. He said he'd probably call tomorrow.
Mary?
Shut that kid up, Mary.
Well, please, Miss Wilson, stay with Anne for a few minutes. I want to talk to my husband. Certainly, Mrs. Gordon.
You know what this means, Mary?
Yes.
Coppers, they traced me. I don't know how, but they did.
They always will.
You gotta get out of here.
What's the use, Bill?
I'll tell you what's the use. 3 years of stir. I ripped my own face. I figure everything so I can enjoy that $250,000. I'm gonna do it if I have to kill half the cops in the country.
I was hoping you might forget that money.
What?
That you might like this kind of living with the kid and everything.
You're nuts. Hey, you're talking like some Gingham and Rose's house broad.
Why not? I've been living like one for the past 2 years. Bill, why don't
Shut
you
up. Shut up. The car just stopped outside.
Bill, if you gave back the money, maybe they'd...
2 guys. They're law. You can smell them from here.
You can't...
Talk. I would have gone except for your talk. Miss Wilton, Anne.
What are you going to do, Bill?
You'll see. You'll see, too, if these coppers start coming up that walk.
Now, back to our Old Nick, David Harding Counterspy case.
Looks quiet enough, Chief. Just a nice suburban home.
Yeah. Well, as long as he's not expecting us, let's go.
Duck thief. Over here, behind this tree, Peter. Thought he wasn't expecting us. That just shows how wrong you can be. It's going to be a tough one.
Listen, coppers. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Malone. Better give yourself up.
I've got one good eye, two good guns. Don't worry about me.
Malone, we're United States Counterspies. We'll have a squad of men out here in 5 minutes. You haven't got a chance of getting out of there.
I make my own chances. Now get this, get it straight. I got two dames in here. The nurse's Sue's top two and my darling little niece. I'm coming out with both of them. First move you make, I tell them. You hear me? I tell them. Now take it from there, copper.
You're crazy, Bill. You can't do
Shut
it.
up, Mary. You're out of this now.
Aunt Mary.
Mrs.
Go
Gordon.
and start moving, you two.
I won't let you do it, Bill.
Get out of my way, Mary.
No.
Okay. Now, come on. You start moving.
Bill, don't.
So help me, if you two don't move, I'll kill you right now.
Aunt Mary, no. No.
Mrs. Gordon, don't.
What?
Goodbye, Bill.
How is she, Chief?
Not good.
What about that girl, Ann? She didn't know anything about it at all, hmm?
No.
She really Malone's niece?
Yes? Only Malone's real name actually was Gordon. He planned to kill the character of Malone and live off the stolen money as Gordon.
Why all this elaborate front involving the kid in it?
Well, Dr. Franklin is one of the few men that could treat Gordon's eye so that it wouldn't give him away.
Oh?
Mary Gordon spent 2 years building up respectability so that Franklin would have no hesitation in treating Gordon.
But she liked the part she'd been playing more than the part she'd been living.
Enough so that she resisted Malone to protect the nurse and the girl. And when that wasn't enough, she used his second gun to kill him.
Mr. Harding, will you come in, please?
Of course, Miss Walton.
She wants to talk to you.
Please, Aunt Mary, don't talk. Just rest.
Mr. Harding, the money Bill hid, there's a reward for it.
By the insurance companies.
Would Anne get it?
I don't know.
Please, Aunt Mary, don't talk. I don't want anything but you.
Bill, in his gun, a paper. It tells about the money.
No, Aunt Mary. No, I won't touch it. I don't want it. I want you.
You know, I can't promise anything about a reward, but...
I don't want to leave her alone. Mrs. Gordon, don't tax your strength. I promise you she'll be all right. I owe you. Well, I'll look out for Anne. She'll be all right. I swear.
So will you, Aunt Mary. So will you.
I'll see that she goes to school. I promise you we'll stay together.
Aunt Mary! Aunt Mary! Aunt Mary!
Miss Wilton, you'd better take her with you. Peters will drive. I'll wait for... Well, I'll stay here. And now we're happy to present the First Army Surgeon, Brigadier General Guy Blair Dennett.
I'd like to talk with our young women who will be graduated this month from secondary schools all over the country. And I'd like to have your mothers and dads listen, too, because this concerns your future and the future health and well-being of America also. We here at the First Army are proud to speak for the National Student Nurse Recruitment Program and its campaign to enroll 50,000 student nurses into civilian hospitals this year. I can tell you that the need is great, that while more young women are entering the profession than ever before, the patient load in our hospitals has increased faster than the available supply of nurses. I can tell you from my own observation in war and in peace about those things that set a nurse apart from the young woman who is content with just a job. If you've ever watched the capable hands, the courage and the clear mind of the nurse as she ministers to a child, to a soldier brought from the battlefield, to the man or woman who is helpless, you will know what I mean. So I say to you young women, consider seriously the many splendid opportunities in nursing and the opportunity to work with those who are making medical history.
Thank you, General Dennett. And our appreciation to the American Hospital Association and to the Advertising Council for their cooperation.
Tonight's David Harding Counterspy case was dramatized by Palmer Thompson with music by Jesse Crawford and featured Mandel Kramer and Bryna Rayburn. David Harding Counterspy is a Phillips H. Lord production originating in New York for the makers of Old Nick and Bitter Honey candy bars. Now a listening reminder. Predictions and inside Washington stories. That's what Drew Pearson brings you every Sunday night. Hear Pearson tonight over this ABC station. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
Get this and get it straight. Crime is a sucker's road, and those who travel it wind up in the gut of the prison of the grave. There's no other end, but they never learn. This one began as the threat of a beating that turned into murder with a brown-eyed blonde, a jovial hippopotamus, and a tough ex-soldier of fortune, all complicating the problem until I got next to the key man.
From the pen of Raymond Chandler, outstanding author of mystery, comes his most famous character and crime's most deadly enemy, as we present The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. Now, with Gerald Moore, starred as Philip Marlowe, we bring you tonight's exciting story, The Key Man.
Along about dusk, Hollywood Boulevard is some desolate place between the end of work and the start of play, and about as boisterous as taps. So except for a sallow-faced masher leaning against a nearby storefront warming up his evening leer, I was alone on a lot of fancy pavement when I walked up to the box office of the newsreel theater near Cahuenga. Paid my 40-cent admission, tax included, and started inside, where, of all places, I was to meet my new client, one Mark Hummel. He'd called my office at 6:35, and in a tight voice, fringed with fear, urged me to find him in the last row, last seat, far left of the Boulevard Cinema at once, if I could use a $50 bill. It was exactly 6:45 when I crossed the length of the lobby to aisle 4 and entered the theater proper, which was almost empty. It was 2 minutes after that before I could see well enough to tell that the man all alone in the aforementioned seat, who wore white French cuffs protruding out of gray flannel, a pleated frown and not paying any attention to the bathing beauties on the screen who were water skiing through Florida's Cypress Gardens, had to be my client. I eased in and sat down next to him. I could see he was watching me out of the corner of his eye.
Marlowe?
Yeah.
My plane leaves for New York in half an hour.
Watch it, honey.
You ought to see that I'm on it and in good health.
Who wants it otherwise?
Barney Kovac, an ex-soldier of fortune who thinks with his fists. He works as store boss in a garage where they park cars. He's threatened to kill me with his bare hands.
Why? What'd you do?
Nothing. It was perfectly legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
He had a chance to get out of Hippo Link's place.
Get out of whose place?
Hippo Link.
Oh.
Kovac had a chance to buy a location of his own.
But you got there first. Look, Mr. Hummel, why don't we continue this in the lounge? It's quieter out there.
Yes, what if you think?
Yeah, come on. Oh, this is better. Come on, we can talk over here. So, you beat Kovac out of the property he wanted. Then what happened?
When he found out, he went crazy. He swore I bribed the real estate broker, high-pressured the owner. All that kind of wild talk, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Marlowe, the place I bought from under him is a good investment. Oh, yes. But chicken feed compared to the deal I'm going to close in New York tomorrow. If I get there.
So for $50, I'm to see that you do just that, huh?
Yes, but I've already made your work easier. I told Hippo Link, all 300 pounds of him.
Oh?
I told him in a loud voice this afternoon that I was going out of town by train at 7 tonight. Figuring, of course, that Kovac, who's nearby, but wouldn't do anything with people around, would overhear me.
Mm-hmm. And your connection with Hippo is what?
I parked my car in his garage. Period. Anyhow, at 5:30 tonight, I drove downtown to the Union Station. I left my car on the lot there and went inside.
After which you doubled back, got outside into a cab, and headed for here in a comfortable wait until plane time, which you're afraid might not fool anybody, including the tough Mr. Kovac, since you've hired me, right?
Yes, that's right. I never caught sight of him trailing me, Marlowe, and, frankly, well, I'm afraid of him. Can you understand that?
Sure. Fear is always understandable. Well, what's the itinerary, Mr. Hummel? Here to the airport?
No. First to my house. I still have a bag to pack. I'll take a cab. You follow in your car. Then wait outside my place. That's 4100 Fountain. And just below La Cienega.
Yeah, I know.
Yes. Now, when I get back into the cab, you follow again. Until I'm safe aboard the plane. Yes. Now, here's your money.
Thanks.
Anything else?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you carry a gun, Mr. Hummel?
Ordinarily, no. But tonight, Marlowe, yes. It's a service gun, 45. And believe me, if I have to use it, I will. Now, let's get out of here. Quickly.
I was 20 minutes playing follow the leader up through Hollywood to Fountain Avenue as far as the neat cube of stucco that was number 4100, where I parked behind the taxi, lights out, and waited. Until I heard a frightened scream from what had to be Mark Hummel. I piled out of my car and darted past the cabbie who said he had enough trouble in his life and ran up the front steps and into the house where in the light of a single overturned lamp at the bedroom, I found my client face down in a widening pool of his own blood. I started for the rest of the rooms, but then the sound of a motor roaring out of the alley behind the house told me I was wasting my time. When I returned to the bedroom, one glance at Hummel's still form said that the man who had been afraid for his life only 30 minutes ago was already very dead. Next to his body was the 45 he never got to use, and alongside of that, the miniature crystal ball splattered with blood that had killed him. There was a key which I found fit the front door, lying in the middle of the carpet. The drawers and closets were all open, as well as his half-packed suitcase. It was a good time to call the police.
Homicide, Detective Lieutenant Matthews speaking.
Marlowe, Lieutenant. I'm at 4100 Fountain, and standing next to a man named Mark Hummel who used to be a client. He's dead, Matthews, murdered.
Any idea who did it, Phil?
Well, I got an idea it might be a lot of muscle called Bonnie Kovac, who works in a garage on Santa Monica Boulevard.
You sure it wasn't a robbery killing?
No.
Well, we've had a lot of second-story jobs there, about every 3 weeks in that neighborhood.
I'm not sure of anything yet, but you see, I was company, Lieutenant. I'll catch up to you later.
Mark, I beg your pardon. Is Mr. Hummel in?
Yes and no. Did he expect you?
Well, no, he didn't. Who are you?
Philip Marlowe.
Well, is Mark in or not?
Yes, he's in. You'll find him in here, if you insist.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry I bit your head off, but what I have to... Oh, no. He's dead? Shot with that?
No, it's his own gun. He was beaten to death with that glass ball there.
Oh.
And that key is his, too. It fits the front door. I already tried it, and then I put it back when I found it, since the police appreciate neatness on the scene.
But that doesn't make sense. Mark always carried his keys in a leather case.
Oh?
It should be right there in his right pocket.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. House key with a bunch of others, and, yeah, this one matches the one on the floor. How'd you know about this?
Oh, I'm an old friend of Mark's, Marlowe.
You'd have to be. What were you in such a hurry to tell him?
I don't remember.
Maybe I can help you. Maybe it was a little message you were going to deliver from Bonnie Kovac.
I don't know anyone by that name. And since that leaves us with very little in common, Marlowe, I think I'll leave with only this 45 here for companionship.
Oh, fine.
Now, get over there against the wall and turn your back. Well, go on.
Now what?
And don't move until you hear me drive away, or your health will suddenly be very, very poor. Good night.
When Little Red Riding Hood slammed out of the place, I knew I could either follow her or wait for Matthews to siren up to the front door and then tell all. One last look around the room, including the key in the middle of the carpet, made me change my mind again. If the key could be traced, it might be a definite link to Kovac, so I headed for Hippo Link's garage on Santa Monica Boulevard in the hope of further information about a hot-tempered man who worked there. Less than 5 minutes later, I was walking down a cement ramp that dropped from the street level into an acre of underground parking space filled with a crowd of heavy with chromium cars that belonged to the fashionable neighborhood nearby. Hippo himself was a perspiring oval, approximately 5'8", measured in any direction, with tiny eyes, tiny nose, and a dozen chins that danced when he laughed, which seemed to be always. He was standing next to a pickup truck marked Ace Battery Shop, talking to the driver.
Huh? And because of that, you want more money for him, huh? That, I suppose, is easy to get.
Now, look, Hippo.
Listen, Plume, I won't pay any more. My overhead's too high already. So if you can't get them for me at the same price, forget the whole deal. Besides, I don't like the way you do business anyhow.
Meaning what, Hippo?
Meaning that when I give you an order, Plume, I want it delivered to me in person, not to just any flunky that's standing around.
Okay. That was a slip. It won't happen again.
Yeah, not twice it won't. Goodbye, Plume. I got customers. Can I help you, mister?
Maybe. I'm looking for Barney Kovac. Is he around?
No. Why? What do you want him for?
Maybe murder.
What? Barney, he killed someone? Wait a minute. Plume, I said goodbye. Go on, beat it.
Okay, Hippo.
I'll see you around. Let's go in the office here, mister. A little quieter. Sit down.
Thanks.
You a cop?
No, private detective. Name's Marlowe, Hippo.
Marlowe, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Never heard of you. I never heard of a lot of people, huh?
That's right, Hippo. People like, for instance, Mark Hummel.
Why him, Marlowe?
He was the one Kovac killed.
Well. What do you know?
Doesn't seem to break you up.
Why should it? Hummel was a louse, Marlowe. Everybody said so. Of course, I didn't know him personally, except to joke with him when he brought his car in. You know, a little laugh goes a long way with some guys.
Tell me, Hippo, did you know that Hummel was going out of town?
Yeah, he told me this afternoon. Should have gone yesterday, huh?
Shut up.
Okay, so you don't like jokes. I can play it straight. What do you want?
For an opener this. A tall blonde with brown eyes and a pretty face who knows how to handle a .45 as well as conversation walked in here. Would you know her?
Am I? Could be Rhonda Beaumont, Barney's girl. She lives in a plush apartment over at 38 Sweetser Drive, just above the Strip. How does she figure?
Probably great in a Catalina swimsuit, but in this deal I'm not sure. She might have put me on the right track by setting me straight about a key to Hummel's apartment that I found next to his body. Wasn't his.
A key?
Yeah, the design on it near the top, the round part, was like a fancy figure 8. Mean anything to you?
Not being a locksmith, no. Anything else?
Yeah. Where can I find Barney Kovac?
How would I know? He quit at 5 today, just like he does every day. And I quit at 9, Marlowe, which happens to be right now. So, goodbye, mister.
Just like that?
Yeah, just like that. You see, if I work late, Marlowe, I got to pay myself overtime. That hurts, because I can't afford it. See what I mean, boy?
I was out on the street and behind the wheel of my car before I saw the man in the back seat who had a snub-nosed .38 leveled at my hairline. He looked rugged enough to be no one else but Barney Kovac.
Drive, Marlowe. Straight to the corner of Melrose and Orange Drive. I live over a store there, and it's quiet, so we can talk without being disturbed. Come on, drive. Right ahead of you, Marlowe. One with a closed transom. Keep walking.
And when I get there?
Then you'll go inside, sit down, and rest while you listen.
To what?
To the truth, Marlowe. I've been following you long enough tonight to know that you're off your rocker. You see, fella, I didn't kill Hummel.
Yeah, I know. He's double-jointed. It was suicide. Slugged himself from behind.
All right, cut it. Here, here's a key. Open up.
Okay. Hey, you made a mistake, Kovac. Wrong key.
What are you talking about? Let me see that.
Sure.
With pleasure.
Stupid. Now that I got your gun, Bud, try it yourself. Come on, Kovac. Close quarters make me nervous.
You're making a mistake, Marlowe.
Yeah, sure I am. The guys who are off their rocker always do, remember? Now get over there in that chair and behave while I use your phone.
Marlowe, don't move or I'll kill you.
Hippo.
Barney, take the gentleman's gun. It's heavy for him.
Sure.
Here, now here, boy. Here's some money. Get clear of L.A. till this thing's all cleaned up. You're in a bad spot.
I know, but I didn't kill Hummel, Hippo. You gotta believe me.
Yeah, by all means.
Barney, my boy, if you say it, I'd believe it. But others won't be that accommodating, I'm sure, so go on. And no matter what you do, don't worry about Marlowe.
Huh?
Nah, he won't be following you. You can count on that, Barney.
In just a moment, the second act of Philip Marlowe. But first, programs on a summer Sunday afternoon come to you at home, in your cars, on the beaches, and 101 other places where you are at ease. And for your leisure time listening, what is better than music? Every Sunday afternoon, CBS brings you two outstanding programs of music. Gems from the great composers played by the Symphonette, and the sweet, memorable songs of the outstanding modern composers and semi-classicists sung by the Choraleers. Each program is designed especially for fine, summer Sunday afternoon listening. Hear both the Symphonette and the Choraleers tomorrow afternoon on most of these same CBS network stations. Now, with our star, Gerald Moore, we return to the second act of Philip Marlowe and tonight's story, The Key Man.
The gun wrapped in the thick, fat fist of Hippo looked like a toy as he leveled it at my chest while Kovac got away. And the fat boy kicked the door shut, leaned his ponderous 300 pounds against it, and smiled. The smile faded gradually and finally died, but the muzzle of the gun in his hand didn't so much as twitch until the battered alarm clock on the dresser had clanked off a monotonous 15 minutes. At that point, Hippo Link leaved his face up into another smile, waddled across the room, and laid the gun down on the table in front of me.
Okay, Marlowe. You behaved yourself real nice. Barney's got all the head start he'll need, so you can leave now.
You know something, Link? You're not only fat between the sleeves, you're overweight between the ears, too. Helping a suspect escape doesn't sit well at headquarters.
Now, just a minute, boy. You're kind of jumping to conclusions, aren't you? You were putting the muscle on a friend of mine, and I helped him out. That's all that happened so far, so you look a little silly running me in on that. But if you still want to try, boy, the gun's right there on the table.
Okay, Hippo, you win for now. But don't think I buy that silly 1, 2, 3 story of yours. May not be Peck's bad boy, but I don't see you as Sir Galahad either.
Well, how do you put the story together, then?
I don't know that that's any of your business, and even if I thought it were, I wouldn't tell you. But I'll let you in on this much. I don't know for sure that Kovac is guilty, but then I don't know for sure where you or Kovac's girl Rhonda Beaumont fit either.
I wouldn't know.
You said you knew her.
So?
You seem to think a good deal of that kid, Kovac.
So?
So couldn't it be possible she paid you to come up here and see that her boyfriend got away?
Like you said, Marlowe, I don't know that it's any of your business.
How much cash does it take for you to stick your neck out as far as you have, huh? Or could it be you've got a thing going for Kovac's girl and would be glad to see him out of town?
You're kidding, boy. Look, why don't you alone? What's it to you now?
My client was knocked off right under my nose, remember? Now, you going to let me out of solitary?
Sure. Pick up your pistol and run. And if you need me for any more help, why, be sure and let me know.
I left Hippo standing in Kovac's flat, and downstairs I stopped in a phone booth long enough to have the latest developments for what they were worth relayed to Lieutenant Matthews. Then I drove out to where Sweetser turned straight up into the hills and parked in front of number 38, the Marlowe Apartments. A terraced heap of pastel plaster and angled glass in which Rhonda Beaumont had a first-floor front. I took a look at the large private view of the city as I crossed the small private patio and knocked on the substantial private entrance. When it cracked open, I helped it along just enough to step inside.
Fast! Marlowe, you will come in, won't you, whether you're asked or not?
Yes, and it's sweet of you to ask me, Rhonda. Is he here?
He?
In
a city of 4 million, half of which are male, that borders on being a stupid question. But the answer is no in any case, because until you strong-armed your way in here, I was alone.
I can't buy it. I figure Barney's the kind of a boy that will want to take stuff like you right along with him when he leaves.
Barney leaving?
Mm-hmm.
What are you talking about?
He's running away from that mess over on Fountain. He's leaving town.
You're lying. I've heard enough from you,
I'll take the handbag, baby. Heavy enough to have that cute .45 caliber compact inside, right?
Okay, it's in there. Take it. I don't care. But look, Marlowe, is that the truth about Barney leaving town?
As if you didn't know, yes. And while we're on that subject, why did you show up at Mark Hummel's place tonight?
Well, I went there to warn him about Barney.
Now, wait a minute. I thought you were in love with Kovac.
I am. Do I have to draw you a picture? Barney Kovac's strong and reckless, but he was trying hard, awfully hard, to get started for himself, and then... Well, I used to go with Mark before I met Barney, and And because of that, Mark deliberately beat him out of the best deal he'd ever had, the louse. Just to spite me. Well, Barney was furious, and I knew something terrible would happen if they ever got together, so I went to tell Mark to stay out of his way, that's all.
You got there a little too late, is that it?
I don't know. Well, at least give me a handkerchief out of my bag, Marlowe, darn it.
Yeah, sure. Here, Hey, these keys. Rhonda, this one, the one with the figure 8 design. Where'd you get it?
Well, it's my new door key.
Yeah, I know, but where'd you get it?
I don't know. Barney had it made for me one day while we were having lunch.
Who's the guy who made it?
I don't know.
Where were you eating that day?
A Hungarian place on Fairfax near Santa Monica. Where are you going, Marlowe?
Fairfax, near Santa Monica. Here's your bag, Rhonda, and if you got any sense, stay put and try real hard not to shoot anybody. At least until I call.
Okay.
So long, baby.
Bye.
It's a mess. Read all about it. Late extra papers. It's all over now. Paper, mister?
No, thanks, kid. Tell me something. Where's a locksmith on this block?
Locksmith? No, there ain't none.
Oh, come on. Sure there is. A guy who makes keys. It's got to be. Think hard, will you? It's important.
Think hard, he says. Look, mister, I know this whole neighborhood like the back of my own hand. No key maker.
Uh-huh. Well, how about a guy who sharpens saws, scissors, things like that?
No, nothing like that. We got filling stations, bars, a delicatessen, drugstore, shoemaker, dry goods store, 3 restaurants. One's Hungarian, that's on Fairfax. Ace Battery Shop there across the street, a toy store on the corner, a lampshade joint.
Wait a minute, hold it. Battery. Ace Battery. Plume. Plume.
Yeah, that's it. Old man Plume owns the joint. A real sour apple, you know what I mean? Place a dump, too, but he works hard. He's probably over there right now, working in the back room.
Bless you, my boy. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, who is it?
Customer, my battery's dead. You gotta help me.
Now, look, mister, my place is closed up. Come back. Hey, what is this?
Sorry, Plume, but tomorrow's a long way off. This is an emergency. Now, take it easy and you'll be okay. I got a job for you, and it's got to be done tonight.
Well, listen, I said my place is...
Shut up. Now, get this, Plume. I'm a friend of Hippo Lynx and Barney Kovacs, all of which makes you perfect for my job.
Now, what kind of a job you talking about?
This. It's a key. Duplicated.
A key? Hey, buddy, this is a battery shop. I can't make keys. In the first place, you got to have a license.
I said this was an emergency, didn't I? Get busy.
With what? My fingernails? I don't know how to cut keys. Somebody's stringing you, pal, and I...
Plume, keep away from that drawer! Well. Whole drawer full of blank keys, huh? That 38 in the drawer here must be that license you spoke of. Come on, you. Get up.
Wait. Leave me alone. I didn't do anything.
Now, listen, Plume. I want one straight answer out of you. Fast. You made a delivery to Link's garage sometime today, and it wasn't batteries. Who'd you give it to? Come on.
I left it with Barney Kovac. He was the only one around, but it was nothing, an envelope.
Yeah, full of keys. Thanks very much for your help, Plume, but I'm in a hurry. And just so I'll be sure to see you later, good night! I ran out to my car, piled in, and headed straight out Santa Monica for La Cienega. And when I got within sight of the dark, cavernous entrance to Hippo Link's underground storage garage, I slowed down and looked for a phone that I could use to call Matthews and still keep an eye on the garage, because the way things stood now, I couldn't afford to miss a lick. But then I got a break. I decided to try a mobile gas station on the corner when the scream of a siren shoved me up against the curb, and a squad car swerved out from a side street, ground to a rubber-burning stop in front of the garage and disgorged Matthews himself and the driver on the double. I slammed out of my coupe and belted across the street after him. Matthews! Hey, Matthews!
Oh, get back! Over this way. We got Kovac corner down inside there. You're just...
Now, wait a minute. Matthews, you got this deal all wrong.
No, we haven't. I got 2 men out and back. He's trapped. We'll get him
No. Hold everything, Matthews. Listen to me. I'm going down there and talk to him. I'll be back in a minute. Kovac, this is Marlowe. Come on out. I got all the answers now, Barney. I just had a talk with Plume, and I got a lot of truth out of him. Come on, Barney. You're not helping anything.
Marlowe! Phil, you all right?
It's my shoulder, Matthews.
Oh, I knew this had happened sometime. No, this Kovac...
No, listen to me. Don't shoot. Don't!
Look at my arm.
Listen, Matthews, Kovac didn't do it.
What?
The shot that got me came from back there on the other side. Yeah, that's it, Pete. Further back. There.
There he is, Matthews. That's the boy.
That's the fat guy runs this
That's
joint.
right. Yeah, Hippo Link. Second Lieutenant, he's your killer.
Stop, Link! Stop! I got him, Phil. He's down.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one nice thing about Hippo. You can't miss him.
Oh, thanks.
I think I'd better sit down a minute.
Hello, Marlowe. You feeling better now?
Oh, great. You can't beat these hospital beds for comfort, Lieutenant. I'm getting one for my apartment. You can crank it into 30 different positions. You know that?
Yeah, I know. The doc says you got off with a flesh wound.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you're pretty lucky, Phil. And I just stopped by to tell you they saved Hippo Link, so he'll have to be tried. It won't be much, though. He's already admitted everything.
Oh, what about Plume? Did you get anything on him?
Still so groggy, I hardly knew his own name when we picked him up.
Yeah, it was quite a racket they had, Matthews.
Yeah, smooth. Every rich customer come into Hippo's garage, left his house key with his car keys, was a cinch to be burglarized sooner or later.
Yeah, Plume cuts a duplicate key. They find out when the people are away, and that's all they need. Some setup. But sure backfired on him tonight. Hummel went to a lot of trouble to tell Hippo that he was leaving town at 7 just to throw Bonnie off his trail. But Hippo took it as a great opening for his racket. So Hummel came home right in the middle of the burglary, and Hippo had to kill him to get our way.
That's it? Oh, by the way, a friend of yours out here.
Oh?
Yeah, I'll get him. Come on in, Bonnie. He's feeling fine.
Oh, swell. Hi, Mr. Marlowe.
Hi.
I guess Rhonda and I owe you quite a vote of thanks.
You owe me nothing but an explanation, Kovac. Why'd you run?
Oh, I don't know. Half the way I shot my mouth off about Hummel, I figured I was hooked for sure when he turned up dead. Once I started running, I couldn't stop. Kept getting worse.
Yeah, it's exactly what Hippo figured.
That's one I don't get, Marlowe. Why'd he help me in the first place?
He had to, brother. Hippo knew that my best clue was an extra door key. He also knew that Plume had left a bunch of keys with you to give to him. He was sure that if we ever got together and talked about keys, he'd be stuck. But as it turned out, I got the same lead anyway from the key Plume made for Rhonda. Hey, Matthews.
Yeah?
Crank me up in the middle, will you?
What, like this, Phil?
Oh, yeah. That's perfect. Barney, turn off that reading lamp, will you, please?
Sure. Yeah. Anything else, Marlowe?
Yeah. You see that no visitor sign there?
Yeah?
Well, just hang it on the door on your way out. I'm here for 3 days, fellas. I'm going to make the best of them. Good night, all. When they left, I nestled down to the solid comfort of clean sheets and quiet darkness. And my eyes were almost closed when it happened. The light snapped on. A pair of efficient hands grabbed me, stabbed an inch of hypodermic needle into my right arm, jammed a cold, hard thermometer under my tongue, and splashed a half a pint of icy alcohol on my back. Oh, it was awful. But when it was over, she looked back from the door and smiled before she went out. A red-headed nurse and very pretty. Only then did I notice the set of keys she'd forgotten on my medicine table. One was thick with a figure-8 design. It was her door key. And for just a moment I wondered foolishly if I could get a hold of Mr. Plume again some way. For just a few minutes. Cut it out, Marlowe. Go to sleep.
The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, bringing you Raymond Chandler's most famous character and crime's most deadly enemy, star Gerald Moore, and are produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Script is by Mel Donnelly, Robert Mitchell, and Gene Levitt. Featured in the cast were Vivi Janis, Parley Bear, Jack Moyles, Howard McNear, Shep Menken, and Don Orick. Detective Lieutenant Matthews is played by Larry Dobkin. The special music is written by Richard O'Runt. Be sure and be with us again next week when Philip Marlowe says...
It was going to be a vacation in the wide open spaces, but a black stallion, a tiny emerald, and a battered horseshoe meant a 24-hour delay. It could have been worse, because to the dude from Manhattan, they meant death.
Most of us think we are free of tuberculosis. Yet how many of us make sure with periodic chest x-rays that we have no symptoms of this dread disease? Anyone can have TB without being aware of it. In the early stages, there are often no signs, and yet it is in this early stage when it is most important for the disease to be detected. So remember, TB can be cured if you catch it in time. Make an appointment for that chest x-ray immediately. This is Roy Rowan speaking. Stay tuned now for Gangbusters, which follows immediately over most of the same CBS network stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Gangbusters. Gangbusters, the only national program that brings you authentic police case histories, has asked John J. Sullivan, retired, former Deputy Commissioner and Chief of Detectives, New York Police Department, to narrate by proxy tonight's case. Commissioner Sullivan.
There's been a good deal in the newspapers recently about wiretaps, Gangbusters listeners. Tonight's case deals with an official telephone tap granted by the courts to enable the police to fulfill a function as important as the solution to a crime, which is the prevention of one. It began in New York City late one summer afternoon when Detectives Lawrence Barton and Frederick Dorset, attached to an outlying precinct, were walking along a street in the Upper Bronx following their tour of duty.
Hey, Larry. What? The fellow that just got off that bus.
The tall Manfred?
No, the guy in the lumber jacket, walking just ahead of him.
Yeah?
Wasn't he in the lineup when we covered it last week?
I can't tell. Can't get a good look at his face.
Heavy features, big nose, wide-set eyes.
Maybe that traffic light will hold him.
What do you think, Larry?
Yeah. He's a burglary suspect. Long record, 3 or 4 convictions. Can't remember his name.
Wasn't he on parole?
I don't quite recall, friend.
Well, if he is, he's breaking. He's going into that bar.
Feel like a beer, Freddie?
Yeah. Beer might taste good at that.
In following the known lawbreaker into the bar, Gangbusters listeners, Detectives Fred Dorset and Larry Barton were following good police procedure. Criminals are seldom lone wolves, and it is important to establish and identify the places in which they meet to plan their crimes. The man they'd seen in the lineup was ordering a drink as Dorset and Barton took their positions a few feet from him.
What'll it be to you, fellas?
Beer?
Same, please.
John, Speaky been in?
Just went down to the corner to get a paper.
Has he heard from, you know?
I don't think so.
When he comes in, tell him I'm in the back booth.
Okay.
My bartender.
2 more?
Yeah. You got another phone? I see that one's out of order.
Yeah, there's one in the rear.
Thanks.
All right, Ricky.
Just show up, Joe?
Hasten back, Ricky.
You don't have any jobs around, do you, bartender? My friend and me are new here in town.
Huh? What's your line?
Oh, I'm not particular. Just so long as it pays.
I haven't heard of anything. Hey, excuse me, I have to come through the bar right under here to get to the phone.
Sure.
Hello? Yeah, hang on. Guys? For you.
Hello? This is Gus. Well, we've sure been waiting for you. Big you make us something look... I thought the sign said the phone was out of order, bartender.
Must have been something at the phone exchange or something. I guess they fixed it.
Okay. I can't talk to Biggie about it. We'll give you a call. Probably take a day or two. Sure. Yes, so long. Want me to take the out-of-order sign down for you, bartender?
No.
No?
What's the difference? There's another phone in the joint. This keeps the line open in case someone wants to call in.
A few minutes later, Detectives Dorset and Barton left the Bronx bar. But instead of separating and going to their respective homes, they went by subway to the Bureau of Criminal Identification at Center Street in downtown Manhattan. There, while Fred Dorset checked the mug file, Larry Barton checked the alias file.
Got him yet, Fred? Yeah. He's on parole, all right. Gus Sickle. 9 arrests, 3 convictions. All burglary and robbery. You find anything?
There's one biggie in the alias file. A man named Albert Toller. Here's a card.
Well, there. Larry, you can't say Albert Biggie Toller hasn't devoted his life to his work. 1948, robbery, suspended sentence. 1949, robbery, drew 2 years. 1951, mugging suspect. Couldn't make it stick. 5 more.
They're casing a job, Freddie.
Yeah, they sure are.
You think they want the third guy in, whoever he is?
It figures.
Be nice to get a good arrest on these guys, wouldn't it? One where we got them cold and there's no way they can get out of it?
Yeah. 17 arrests between them, only 4 convictions. Would be kind of helpful to get a good arrest on these bums.
Gangbusters listeners, there's something you must understand about policemen. When an officer makes an arrest, he must be sure it's a proper one. This is a safeguard set up by our Constitution and one we must protect. A check with Gus Sickle's parole officer revealed that Sickle was working as a mechanic's helper in a garage. And the next morning, Detectives Dorset and Barton met with Lieutenant Richard Jackson, commanding officer of their squad.
Sickle and Toller were using this bar as a hangout, Lieutenant. They've got an out-of-order sign at one of the public phone booths. The phone works.
That's right, Lieutenant. Gus Sickle received a call on it. He expected it.
You better get back in there, boys. But you better make it look good.
Oh, I did the talking before, Lieutenant.
What'd you say?
No one in town, looking for a job, that sort of thing. Same for Larry.
If Fred took the lead, Lieutenant, I let him go. Well, that sounds all right. Fred, supposing you go back, be complaining about the fact that your pal has got onto a job that you still haven't. You're willing to try anything. Maybe if you hang around enough, buy a few drinks, say you're running out of money, as long as you got it, you spend. Easy come, easy go, you know. You might be able to learn something.
Could I draw some money for that, Lieutenant? If I bought drinks, as long as it'd kill me.
Yeah, I guess I could get you $25 for that, Fred.
Hi. Give me a beer, will you?
Sure.
Here you are.
Thanks.
What do you know about that, Philip? Remember yesterday afternoon? I was in here with this friend of mine.
Sure, I remember.
This friend of mine bumps into a guy looking for ice cream salesman to drive those little trucks around. My buddy's working. Today, I go over to see the man. Jobs are all filled up. How are you going to figure it?
It's hard to figure, all right.
Yeah. My name's Fred. Your name's Joe, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I sure would like to get situated someplace.
Joe. Hello, guys. Same as usual?
Just a bit. How's about having a shot with me, buddy? Give him a shot, Joe. Take it out of the change. Just a bit, Joe. No offense. I was standing here. There's no harm offering to buy a drink. Name's Fred. Fred Dorset.
Wasn't you in here with another fellow yesterday? Big guy?
Yeah, that was my pal. We come down from
Why don't
upstate.
you wait for your pal to come in, Fred? Maybe you can buy him a drink. Give me a couple dimes for the phone, Joe.
Jesus. Not very friendly, is he?
No, they're not very friendly here.
Well, I guess I'll make a call.
Now, why don't you do that, buddy? Somebody that'll shoot the breeze with you.
someplace else.
Detective Dorset made a telephone call from the second public phone in the bar, making a mental note of its number as he did. Then he returned at once to his precinct squad room, where he, Detective Barton, and Lieutenant Jackson discussed their next step.
I think I've blown it, Lieutenant. We might stake out a new man in the bar, but he'll have a rough time getting close to Gus Sickle.
Well, what if you put a tail on him, Lieutenant? If they're still casing the job, we can at least pin down its location.
It can't be either of you boys, though.
If Sickle gets another look at me, we blow it for good.
Lieutenant, it would be real good to grab these guys right.
You're a good tail, Lieutenant.
Never known you to lose a man.
Why, there are half a dozen guys in this squad who... Okay, you think Sickle's still at the bar, Fred?
He's probably waiting for Biggie. Biggie hadn't come in when I left.
All right, I got my Chevy. Let's see if you can connect me with him, huh?
10 minutes later, Gangbusters listeners, Lieutenant Jackson's black sedan moved slowly by the entrance to the Bronx bar.
Is Sickle still there, Fred?
Just a minute. Biggie's there now. I don't see Sickle.
Okay, we'll park.
Lieutenant Jackson parked his car so that he and Detective Dorset sat with their backs to the saloon entrance. Then, for a moment, he adjusted a large rear-view mirror. For 20 minutes, the two detectives sat, Gangbusters listeners. To a casual passerby, they were two salesmen discussing a deal. A more alert person might have noticed that the smaller of the two salesmen, however, never took his eyes from the rear-view mirror until... Okay, Lieutenant. It's both of them.
Which way they're headed, Fred? This way past us?
Yeah, they're making up their minds. Yeah. Sickle's the big-nosed fellow, wearing the tan windbreaker.
Oh, they're hopping that bus up the street, Fred.
Shall I stay behind it?
Keep in the right-hand lane. Traffic will make you stay behind it.
Yes. You're moving down to the front of the bus, Lieutenant. About to get off, I think.
Okay, get ahead of it. Right along here, Fred. Take the car back to the station, Fred.
Yes, sir.
You and Larry wait for me there.
Yes, sir. Good luck. Within minutes after it had alighted from the car, Detective Lieutenant Jackson was certain the two hoodlums were planning a stick-up. They left the bus at a busy intersection in Manhattan. For the better part of an hour, they loitered along the block, paying particular attention to the actions of the clerks in a giant supermarket and the movements of the uniformed patrolmen on post. Each entered the supermarket separately, taking a long time to make small purchases. Finally, the two burglars again boarded a bus and returned to the Bronx Tavern. When Lieutenant Jackson entered, Biggie Toller was waiting at the bar, and Gus Sickle was in the phone booth, marked out of order.
What do you have, mister? Give me a large shell of beer.
Right.
Okay. You want? Yeah, we'll look into it. Goodbye. What do you think of that, Biggie?
Think of what?
On the phone, he told me. He don't like the fella. Don't like nothing about it. He's got a brand new idea.
Right down, Gus.
After all that work, he says no.
So he says no. We gotta have him or we got nothing. Hey, Joe.
Yeah, Biggie?
Throw a couple of beers over the back booth, will you?
Here right away. You want I should throw you another, mister? No, thanks. I gotta get along.
Well, Lieutenant, that was fast.
Yeah, fast and bad.
You lose him, Lieutenant?
No, Larry, I didn't lose them, but they lost the job. They made another case of the heist. It was that big supermarket there at 125th, Fred. Then they went back to the saloon, and Sickle called the third man.
He must be pretty important.
Well, they need him. They aren't going to move without him. He refused to set up, so they're going to start all over.
We've got enough to get a phone tap order, haven't we, Lieutenant?
I should think so.
Read right up what we have so far, the two men's arrests and convictions, along with what we know of their movements now, their use of that phone in the bar. I'll take it to the judge.
Lieutenant Jackson's request for a listening device on the public telephone in the Bronx bar was approved by his commanding officer and granted by a judge after review of the facts as known. The location selected as a listening post was a basement in a building located around the corner from the bar. Technical employees of the telephone company, obeying the court's order, brought lines from the main phone lines onto the street, set up a direct tap on outgoing calls from the public phone, a telephone by which the detectives assigned to the listening post could make calls, and a general tap on the trunk line which carried calls to the public phone. This was the equipment with which Lieutenant Jackson and Detectives Dorset and Barton hoped to trap Sickle and Toller and identify the unknown third man. For 48 hours, the men heard little except an occasional lame excuse offered a wife by a tardy husband, orders the bartender gave suppliers. Then, as the reader monitored the trunk line...
You'll get on it this time, Larry.
Sure.
Gus was in a while earlier. I ain't seen him. How they doing on that thing I give him?
You're right, Larry.
Ain't talked about it much yet. You'll handle the car, Joe? Yeah, Merle. Now, this is going to be a real cinch if it works out the way I said it.
That's Merle Flesh.
Yeah, I'll try it. Okay. And you tell Gus or Biggie to call me when they come in.
Well, I think the lieutenant might like to hear about this. Huh, Larry?
Brother, if that's Merle Clint.
Back to Gangbusters in a moment. Monday night on most of these same CBS radio stations, Mr. Keene, tracer of lost persons, takes on the case of the man who talked too much. When a loquacious inventor spills too many beans about his new invention, death seals his lips, and Mr. Keene is called on to probe the killing. Remember, it's Monday night on most of these stations, Mr. Keene, tracer of lost persons. Remember, too, this Tuesday evening, Suspense brings you a thriller about Mau Mau trouble in Kenya Colony, East Africa, a story titled Lily and the Colonel. That's on Suspense, this Tuesday night at the Star's address. And now, back to Gangbusters and Commissioner John J. Sullivan.
There's good reason for Detective Barton's excitement over the possibility that this third man was Merle Clint, Gangbusters listeners. There'd been a flyer out for 2 months issued by the Detroit police. Merle was a convicted murderer. Moore, an escaped convict. A gunman who for 3 months had dropped completely from sight. Well, within 20 minutes after being notified, Lieutenant Jackson arrived at the wiretap listening post.
Is there anything more, Fred?
It's Merle Clint, all right. The bartender made a call to Gus Sickle. Told him Merle was beginning to holler for action.
Well, that ties that Clint's probably got a bad case of the shorts. No dough.
Well, if Clint's in it, Lieutenant, this job will be a big one. He won't take any chances for peanuts.
Yeah, what'd Sickle have to say, Larry?
He said he was coming right in. Wanted to talk to the bartender and Biggie. Then he'd call Clint.
They may have a job case, Fred. Call the precinct. When Sickle places the call, have a trace put on it. We have to find out where Clint is.
Right away, Lieutenant.
Oh, that's us. Better pick it up.
Yeah? This is Biggie, Joe. Gus around? Not yet. Well, tell him I got tied up. But the guy in the place agrees he'll go along the way we said.
Now, wait a minute, Biggie. Here, Gus is coming in now.
Just tell him to call Merle Clint, Joe. I'm coming on in.
Keep the line open, boys. There'll be more. They're setting the deal.
Sure. Hey, here they go.
Yep.
Hello? Gus Sickle, Bill. Well, I gotta hand it to you. This job's gonna be a cinch. How about Biggie and me coming out? We'll talk. You don't come within 5 miles of this place, Gus. Been too good a stash for me. Got everything set. Biggie closed it with this guy works there. As the guy goes out, he slips the plaster over the lock so it don't catch. It's one of those you can open from the inside, not from the outside. Well, how does the hall look? Couldn't be better. The joint's running a big clearance, but the shoes are still selling for better than 10 a pair. Place is jumping, not enough salesmen. They're open till 9 at night. And get this, Merle. 23rd Street is jammed with people leaving the store, but 24th, they got nobody. The rear door goes right out through a little areaway. That's the one we use. How much, though? This guy in the store thinks 10, 15 grand we time it right. You need dough, Merle. Well, okay, set it. Joe drives. Joe drives.
Yeah. Well, Larry, we've got no idea when they're going to pull this.
Yes, sir.
They've got a man inside. We can't take a chance. It might even be the manager.
Yes, sir.
They're having a sale. They need salesmen. It's a big shoe store on 23rd with a rear entrance on 24th. Shouldn't be hard to find.
I wouldn't think so, Lieutenant.
Try to get a job working there, Larry. You better have a gun.
I'll use an armpit holster. Good.
Hello? Yeah, this is Fred Dorn. Yeah. Yeah, thanks. Lieutenant, they traced that call to Merle Clint.
Where is he?
Rooming house in Queens. He's probably still there. Shall I have him picked up?
I don't know. Larry.
Yes, sir.
If you get a job in a shoe store, you may have to face up to Merle Clint.
We'd like to get those guys, Lieutenant.
The two others, Sickle and Toller, they'll have guns.
You guys will be outside, Lieutenant. Maybe when they come out, I'll have sold them a new pair of brogans each.
Okay, then. We won't pick up Clint, Fred. We'll see if we can't take them all at the same time.
In warfare, Gangbusters listeners, what Lieutenant Jackson of the New York City Police was now taking would have been called a calculated risk. But the fight against crime is warfare, preventive warfare. A watchful day passed. Then, as Lieutenant Jackson again joined Detective Fred Dorset at the wiretap in the dingy basement.
Hi, Fred.
Hi.
Anything new in the box there?
Nothing, Lieutenant.
Well, Larry Barton got the job, Fred. He's now a clerk at the shoe store.
Good.
How's the coffee?
I'll plug it in. Only take a minute to heat up.
Good.
Larry's in the store. I sure hope they make the move. Wait a minute. I'm getting so I know those clicks listening to them all day. That's not ours.
Larry's given me the setup. At 9, they close the front and back door of the store. The customers go out the front as they finish shopping into 23rd Street. And the clerks check in their sales books with the manager in the rear of the store, give him any final cash transaction, check out, and exit on 24th. That's where the door is, that the lock is being gimped.
Hey, that's ours.
Hello? This is Merle Clint, Joe. Huh? We go tonight, Merle. But, Merle, I ain't moving on this unless I know you're handling the gun. I'm handling the gun, Joe. Okay, then I'll be there with the car. Good boy, Joe. Remember, I told you we'd come out on 24th Street. The car will be at the corner of 8th Avenue. Right.
Yes, sir.
I'm there at 9:20. No later. There's 22 clerks working. If there are any left when we go in, they better not get in the way. I'm set for 9:20, Merle.
Well, this is the business, Fred. So what's the time?
10 or 9. Can we get word of warning to Larry? He's in that.
No, sir. He has an idea what they're up to. We'll blow it again if we go in and talk to him.
Maybe if I went in to buy some shoes.
It's a ladies' shoe store.
Well, if we get one of the gals in the department.
We never get to there in time. We'll just have to hope that Larry doesn't try to stop him. Fred, get on the phone to the captain. We'll let those bums go into the store, then block off traffic on 24th Street. We'll need 2 patrol cars, one at each end of the block. I got the commanding officer of the precinct in that area alerted. He can have 4 men there to help. Okay, you can turn that doodad off. We got work to do.
Some moments later, inside the shoe store, Detective Larry Barton, fully aware of the plans, but not knowing of the timing, was busy acting out his role of shoe salesman.
Well, they're attractive.
And you can't beat them at the price, man.
I just don't know about that shade of red, though. But do you have something a little darker, more of a maroon?
Ma'am, the store is closed. It has been for 10 minutes.
Well, if you had something darker in that style, I'm sure I'd take, but...
Well, you see, the management objects to going for new stock after the store's closed. Now, if you'd like to drop in tomorrow...
Those men are coming in there. They've got guns.
Quiet, lady. You won't get hurt. Watch your door, Biggie. Just keep these people covered.
Okay. Against the wall there. Just turn as though you're looking at the stock. No spots, and nobody gets killed.
Hey, you. Give me the money. It don't have to be me. Just stuff it in the bag. Okay. Now just keep standing that way until you count to 100. There's going to be a guy watching. The first one moves gets it. All right, Gus. Okay, Biggie?
Hey, there's something wrong here, Merle. Look in the street. Hasn't been a car or person moved since we came in.
All right, keep him covered, Gus. Hey, they know about the job. They got the street blocked. What are we going to do? 23rd Street. Crowds will keep them from shooting. If anyone gets in the way... Hey, you back.
Hello, police officer. Hit the deck, everybody.
They're making for the front. Stop them. Larry? Yeah, Lieutenant. You all right? Shoulder, I think. Snub. Yeah, don't try to move, boy. Get him, Lieutenant. We got him, Larry. We got him good.
Gus Sickle and Albert Biggie Toller, both wounded in the gunfight, were brought to trial and recovery and are now serving maximum sentences. And the city of New York cheerfully surrendered Merle Clint to the Detroit police. In New York, he would have been convicted for armed robbery and assault with intent to kill. But in Michigan, he was already convicted for life.
Thank you, Commissioner John J. Sullivan, retired, of the New York City Police Department. And now, Gangbusters Nationwide Clues, broadcast every week to assist American police in their war against the underworld. Attention, Gangbusters listeners. Maintain vigilance for Patrick Eugene McDermott, a convicted murderer sought by the FBI for unlawful flight to avoid confinement. Listen carefully to his official description.
Patrick McDermott, age 56, 5 feet 4 1/2 inches, 172 pounds, brown eyes, sometimes wears glasses, brown hair, gray, medium complexion, may work as a hospital technician, machinist, barber, or composer of crossword puzzles.
This fugitive has a 1-inch scar over left eyebrow. Tip of left index finger is amputated. Has tattoo of red and blue bulldog head, right forearm. Has complete set of upper and lower dentures. He is interested in astrology and composes crossword puzzles.
McDermott reportedly carries a snub-nosed revolver in right coat pocket. Consider him dangerous. Attention, all citizens. Be on the lookout for this man wanted by the FBI for unlawful flight to avoid prosecution for the crime of robbery.
Herbert Dennis Bechtel, Bechdel, age 37, 5 feet 7, 175 to 80 pounds, stocky build, brown hair, brown eyes, ruddy complexion. May seek work as a beekeeper or a dairyman.
This man has the following identifying marks: a 2-inch scar on chin, nail on left ring finger marred, 6-inch scar on back of left leg, ball of left heel amputated, causing limp. He may be wearing mustache and long sideburns, and have hair dyed and artificially waved.
Caution. Bechtel may be armed and has reportedly stated that he will not be taken alive. Consider him extremely dangerous. If you have any information concerning these clues, notify your local police, the nearest office of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or Gangbusters at once. Tonight's Gangbusters case was written by William L. Stewart and directed by Leonard L. Bass, with Jack Orrison, Bill Lipton, and Wendell Holmes in leading roles. This production was supervised for CBS Radio by Jerry Danzig. Art Hanna speaking. Station to amazing facts in the case of the unusual partners on Gangbusters, a production of CBS Radio in cooperation with Phillips H. Lord.
Proudly we hail. From New York City, where the American stage begins, here is another program with a cast of outstanding players. Public service time has been made available by this station for your Army and your Air Force to bring you this story, as proudly we hail the United States Army. Our story is entitled Cable Job. This is the story of Captain Carroll W. Liebeck, Master Sergeant Lawrence Criminez of the 51st Signal Battalion, the men and officers of the 14th Engineer Combat Battalion and 568th Ordnance Heavy Maintenance Company, and all elements of 1st Corps Korea. Plan ahead to get ahead. There's sound advice for you young men of America, and here's how you can act on that advice. Your United States Army is offering a bright future in such interesting technical fields as radio, radar, electronics, mechanics, meteorology, photography, and many, many others. Perhaps you're not qualified in any of these urgently needed skills. Well, here's the answer to that. The United States Army, through its many fine technical schools, is prepared to train you in the field for which you show an aptitude. Now, there's a great opportunity, your opportunity, to plan ahead, to get ahead. For full details, visit your nearest United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station now. And now your Army and your Air Force present the proudly we hail production, Cable Job. Korea, 1952. First Corps Zone near the Han River. Captain Carroll Liebeck and Master Sergeant Lawrence Criminez of D Company reporting to the commanding officer of the 51st Signal Battalion, United States Army.
Hey, Captain Liebeck, we've received an emergency order this morning from Corps. Take a look at it.
Thank you, Colonel. Lay a 5-pound per foot submarine cable across the Han River.
We'll call it from point X to point Y. The terminals are marked here on this map I'm giving you.
Thank you, sir. Cable to be laid across the Han from point X to point Y without delay.
That's all of it? That's the order. It's of vital importance to the Allied effort to get it done quickly. Lieutenant Smith here of the 14th Engineer Combat Battalion has been sent along to help you sweat the job through. Now, this is Captain Liebeck, Lieutenant, and Sergeant Criminez.
Glad to know you, Captain. Sergeant?
How are you, Lieutenant?
This is our problem, Captain. There are 3 factors you'd better have in mind, and maybe Sergeant Criminez can clarify a 4th one for us. To start with, the job's desperately important. You don't need strumming out on that, do you?
No, sir. Cable that size could lick just about every phone problem the divisions would have, or will have, east of the river.
Now, your second factor is the interplay of current and tide. With a 7 knot-an-hour current and tides down at the river mouth that can go up to 35 feet, we've got just 1 2-day period each month when water conditions are even close to favorable for a project of this kind.
And do you have the dates on the next period coming up, Colonel?
Of this month, you said the 23rd and the 24th, didn't you, Lieutenant?
That's right, sir. Your next chance comes the 23rd, Captain.
It's the 11th now. That gives us 12 days.
It's not half enough, Captain, but you've seen the order. Now, your third factor may cramp you even more than the time element. Now, that stretch of the river's under enemy observation and well within their artillery range.
It's got to be done this month. Be a serious blow to the Allies to wait until next low tide.
Mind if I have a look at that map, Captain?
Take a good look at it, Sergeant. This gets us to where you come in.
Yeah, I know the place, sir. It's over a mile across there. With a flood margin, we could need up to 8,300 feet of cable.
8,300 feet. That's just shy of 21 tons, Colonel. We'd be splicing from the... Let me see.
Call it splicing from 7 reels, Captain.
Do you have that amount of cable on hand, Sergeant?
Well, we've got it. I know where we can get it, sir. The problem will be to waterproof the splices by using sleeves. They'll have to be flown in. We can locate any this side of Honolulu.
Geared for it otherwise, Sergeant?
Not as we stand, sir. No, not for a job this size. But we can improvise the rest of it if we get the seals to close them off in time.
Colonel, can you tell me what help we can count on from the Army's other technical services? All engineer elements have been asked to cooperate as requested. We'll have Lieutenant Smith on that. If anything else you can't get directly, we'll have authorized through first call. That square you away?
Yes, sir.
Now, you will be able to meet the tidal deadline?
Yes, sir. One way or the other.
Okay, good luck with it. Keep me posted with your progress.
This is as near as I can get with the Jeep, Captain. From that bluff up ahead, you get the best view of the crossing point.
All right, let's get up there. Those field glasses of yours look like good ones, Lieutenant.
They're a legacy, Captain. My brother got them from a German SS colonel back in 44.
There she is, Captain. Not as deep as the old Mississippi, but right here, blame near as wide.
Let's check that map again, Smith. Yeah, there's a little stream that twists in below our takeoff point.
Make the terminal across just this side of that smashed red tank. You see there, about 90 yards from the bank?
That's it. We'll resurvey after we've got things started back at cable supply. About this raft building team of yours.
Yeah, what about the raft? Have you worked it out yet whether we can get by with a standard 4-pontoon rig?
You still say no, don't you, Sergeant?
Oh, we can't leave the cable on reels, Lieutenant, not with this much of it. With maybe 5 big bundles of cable a ship to pay out, we'll need a deck twice the width of your standard aluminum job.
What, not more than 4 pontoons?
No. We'll put that to B Company, my own outfit, as soon as you pick where you want the raft built, Captain. I take it you want it assembled upstream.
4 or 5 miles at least. Start building it down here, and the Commies' artillery would be zeroed in before we get half started.
Heavy stuff they've got over there now.
We'll give them a target for too long, and they'd be bringing up more of it.
All right, 5 miles or so upriver for the raft building. You want to go pick a site now?
As soon as we drop the sergeant back at our own shop to start getting set up for the splicing.
Say, can I call back when Zuli and Keogh on this, Captain?
Zuli and Keogh, aren't they out with the South Korean 1st Division?
Yes, sir, since Monday. Helping on that wire installation job. No, what I figured was I could send out Franklin and Jackson to finish up there and have Renzi and Keogh back here on the splicing. They're handier at that.
All right, line up anybody you'll need, Sergeant. With your best hands, it'll still be tight going.
Miles upstream, and with that ridge back there to screen off observation. Figure this is far enough?
Well, it'll have to be, Jeff. Get any further on this cow track, and you'd never get your heavy cranes in.
It'll be tricky enough as is. On these bottomlands, they didn't have fill enough to stip in even that road section back there that's supposed to be halfway decent.
Well, there's that cove you picked off the map.
Well, sure that's the cove, but...
Yeah, but what?
Well, where's the sandbar that's supposed to be giving us smooth water there? Remember the one just above the cove that should be showing for about 60 yards out?
Well, no one's had time to bring these river charts up to date since... Well, put it down for one more chore we'll have to do ourselves before the actual crossing.
Chart isn't any better for down below than it is here?
Well, it might still be on the nose, but we can't depend on it. We'll check flow and tide rise, take soundings, and try to make a rough bottom profile before we go over it. But that'll be easier than getting your raft together here. This is pretty soft stuff underfoot.
Yeah, this way for miles. If we've got the cove and the ridge below there for cover, this'll have to be it.
What are the pontoons in the double-deck way, taking them all together?
Within 2 tons of your cable, 19 tons or over.
Lucky you'll have the cranes. If you had to raffle those sections around by hand, you'd have the weariest bunch of engineers this side of the engineer school back at Fort Belvoir.
They'll be weary enough, even with the cranes. There isn't enough timber around for the rollers we'll need.
Will you set up tents out here?
Don't worry about that, Captain. You could throw combat engineers halfway up Mount Everest in their underwear, and they'd have a tight roof and a fire going 5 minutes later.
Yes, I could believe it. I saw one of the bridge jobs your boys tossed up over this river after the landing at Incheon. Drop those men back in the States, and they'd be pulling down top money from any contractor lucky enough to get hold of them.
That might be. Well, I've seen enough now to know what I'll need, and the first thing I want to do is get back and start nailing down a couple of cranes.
Yes, let's go. I won't feel right till I know the sergeant's got those waterproof cable seals located and started into us.
Hey, you look as wet as if you'd swum back, Captain. That rain catch you out on the road?
Just after I drop Lieutenant Smith. Remember to get a top back on that Jeep one of these days.
I could send Renzi over to try
No, not now, Sergeant. We've got more to do than that. You verify the cable?
We've got the cable, Captain. That's not the headache, though. I just got an answer back on our query for the cable seal.
Oh, no dice?
None near enough to get here in time, whatever the priority. We're going to have to ship them up ourselves over at 568th Ordnance.
Well, they've never done anything even close to these.
I've seen them do everything from armoring up a Jeep to grinding out quarter-inch gears. Maybe they'll thank us for throwing a new one at them.
Have you called over there yet?
Well, I've just been making up some drawings and specifications to take over to them. As soon as Renzi gets back here with my raincoat...
I've got an extra raincoat inside there. Let's get going now.
Hiya, Denny! 568 still using needle and thread to sew up cracked engine blocks.
Larry, old Milwaukee talking himself. About time you showed to pick up that windmill rig of yours. You got that portable radio you said you'd put up for it?
Come on, break it up, will you, Denny? Break it up. Captain, this is Danny O'Hara, the man I was telling you about on the way over.
Sorry, Captain. Didn't know you were with the sergeant here.
Well, if I hadn't been O'Hara, what's this about a windmill rig? You and criminals going into the power business?
Well, it's just something we were clowning around with last week, Captain. It isn't worth taking.
He's being modest, Captain. You don't have to go glowering at me, Larry. You pulled your materials out of a trash pile. We ran it up for you on our off-duty time.
Well, this wonder I'll have to see. But after we get the cable across. Ever turned out waterproof cable seals here, O'Hara?
Cable seals?
Yeah, cable seals waterproof the joints of the cable. I've got the seals drawing here, Danny. Have a look.
Well, hold it. Let me turn this thing off. Is the rush job?
You ever get any other kind, Danny?
No, I mean, you really got to have these, maybe by next week.
Like tomorrow, if you can get on the ball.
Not a chance, Larry.
Day after tomorrow?
Look, Larry, we got to cut patterns and make special tools before we can even get started on this. And then with the accuracy that you call for here, we could...
O'Hara...
Yes, Captain?
I'll see your CO before we leave here, but I promise you'll have authorization to get on this full-time for the liquor. That help cut down your time estimate?
Well, I was figuring it for hot, Captain, or you wouldn't be backstopping the sergeant on it. When I said maybe a week, that was allowing full-time.
Now, wait a minute, Danny. Let's you and me recheck this right through for materials and tools, huh? Oh, hello, Lieutenant.
Jeff, get you over here.
Corporal Ranzuli over at your place said this is where I'd find you.
You run into trouble getting the cranes?
Not getting them, using them.
Oh, you mean the rain?
This rain cuts our throats. It's been out rechecking the back road, and it's pure soup. We'll never get the cranes out to that cove now.
But if the rain lets up tomorrow, won't that let you...
If it stopped right now, that last mile would still take days to dry out. The weather officer tells me this rain will go for 2 or 3 days more.
So the raft will have to be assembled on the spot. That can tack on half a week at the time we work out, maybe more.
How are you going here?
Oh, medium. The cable seals are going to have to be made. Criminals and O'Hara are hashing it out now.
What about it, Danny? Will you admit that'll knock off a day?
Okay, Larry. I'll give you a day picked up on that. That still leaves you almost...
Take it easy. You're still counting in full welding time. The way I figure you can chop that...
You are listening to the proudly we hail production Cable Job. We'll return in just a moment for the second act. Young man, if you're interested in continuing your education, here's important news for you. The United States Army urgently needs qualified technicians to operate and maintain the many kinds of equipment that science has brought into being. Right now, men are being trained in such varied fields as radio, radar, meteorology, mechanics, electronics, photography, and many, many others. This training is given by the finest technical training schools in the world. It's an excellent opportunity for young men with intelligence and ambition. It can be the start of a great career for you. For full details, visit your nearest United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station. Do it today. You are listening to Proudly We Hail. And now we present the second act of Cable Job. following day at the upstream raft building site on the bottomlands by the Han River.
All right, Corporal, 6 men over and give a hand in this truck.
Okay. Let's go, sweetheart. Come on, give us some muscle this time, will you? Come on, buddy.
That's the way to go.
Hey, Lieutenant, you won't get this one through. He's double loaded.
All right, Corporal, let's get that pontoon out of there. We'll slide it down to the cove from here.
Through all that muck, Lieutenant?
Be glad it's as slippery as it is. It'll slide like on ice. Come on, I'll give you a hand getting it tilted out of there.
And on the day after that.
Come on now. Okay, Steve. You and your 5 guys heave up on that end. While I knock out the rock that's holding up the roller.
All right, now come on, get a good hold, Augie. Anyone slips this time, they'll have to start all over. Okay, I got a good hold.
All right, here she goes, Corp. Come on, boy. That's it. Come on now. Here we go.
I got it. Get your bonnet, Angelo.
Okay, Steve. Okay, keep her up just a couple of seconds more while we get these rollers ahead. Come on. Yeah, that'll do it. Okay. Down again easy at that end, and let's get shoveling again.
Good job your men are doing, Jeff.
Your fingers caught till we get that other deck section down here. That'll be the tough one.
I got a boat lined up down below. I'm going to try some soundings this afternoon. If you'll be able to shake loose long enough to have a look at the other side.
Well, this afternoon
early. Make it at 15:30 if you get clear.
I'll see you there at the boat.
Ten feet 4.
10 feet 4.
10 feet 2.
10 feet 2.
10-1.
10-1.
9-11.
9-11.
All right, Jeff. That'll do it for now.
We're back at where she starts to open up?
Yeah, we've checked it from that anchored float. It'll be draft enough to get the raft in as close as we have to go.
If we hit the tide right.
Well, if we don't hit the tide right, we won't even get this far.
How about your current velocity? You got enough readings on that?
Well, they average out at just over 7 knots.
Yeah, pretty fast. We'll never hold the raft on course with that one power boat we've been promised.
We'll have to hit the 58th Fedway Bridge Company for another one. I don't see any other way out of it.
We're sweating a couple of bridge jobs now, but I'll phone them when we get back.
Reggie, keep on for the bank. Lieutenant and I are going ashore again.
I can't get her in all the way, Captain. We might get hung up on the beach.
I'll get her in as close as you can. Well, better drainage over here than we've got back across.
Gravel runs out a few yards ahead, but we'll be able to use jeeps right from the water.
This'll do it, Jeff. You can mark a terminal flag stake by that pile of brush just beyond the next rise.
You want the bunker beyond that and below?
Whatever you decide the temporary security is to be.
It'll be a 4-man position to start with. When your outfit gets over here and starts running out the tie-in lines, you can work out whatever's necessary.
I think those are strays. We've got to get Zuli shoved off and start heading back so he won't be spotted.
Well, let's go.
Set the line unclipped. Start taking it back, Ramsey. The bow's swung out. Give it the gun. Well, next week we'll find out the score on today's findings, Ramsey. Next week, sir? We have the real thing on this river. One that won't be able to skim out as we're doing now. Keep staggering your course, but don't weave all over the river. Yes, this is where we were supposed to find criminals, Jeff, but I suppose they're getting worried.
Hey, wait a minute, Carol. You haven't sounded like that since we got started on this.
Oh, we'll keep working on it, all right.
Yeah, but you're worried about the deadline.
Now, look at the way the jumps are piling up, Jeff. If we ever get those cable seals, and if your boys can sweat the raft together, and if we can hold it steady enough crossing over...
Your CO knew this would be tough. It's why I picked you to wrestle it through.
All right, say we get past all those jumps. Then we've got 40 tons of cable and raft crawling across the river. All to be done in 24 hours.
see a phone over there I want to use. I'll be on it while you're checking with the sergeant.
Hey, how's the raft coming along, Captain? Those engineers still in the mud on the piano lifting people?
Well, you got a grin from ear to ear, Sergeant. So Harrop been able to cut down time estimate?
Let's see, what did we get them down to yesterday? 5 days altogether?
Today's the third day they've been on it. Are they ready to try at least one seal, or still...
Come on, take a look, Captain. Danny's just over the next week. There's O'Hara, Captain. You see what he's got stacked up there?
What a proof seal. Get 4, 5, 7 of them.
And the last one on the machine. We'll have them all tonight.
Hara, how'd you do it?
It's 568, Captain. We're loco from way back.
Loco?
Yeah, see, if you come in looking for a windshield wiper, maybe you'd have trouble. But anybody walks in here thinking they got a big problem, we knock our brains out showing them it's kid stuff.
I've had a micrometer on these, Captain, and they're on the nose. We can get splicing in the morning.
Well, Hara, if you ever need a job when you get out, hit only the biggest in the business. And don't take less than $10,000 a year.
I can do better than that, Captain. I'll go to work for the sergeant here when he retires and starts his own company.
I'll take share in that one. But not till we get this cable thrown across.
Well, how about it, Captain? That raft's going to be ready when we are?
Well, Lieutenant Smith, he can tell you better than I can. Jeff, we got the seals. O'Hara's on the last one now.
Good going. Let's get your splicing back on schedule.
That's what the sergeant was just asking about your raft. If your engineers can haul it by the 23rd, we should be ready to load.
We'll haul it, Sergeant, if I have to put a squad in diving suits. But I got better news than that for you, Captain. I've been on the phone with the 58th Treadway Bridge Company, the 388th Smoke Generator Outfit, and Corps Artillery. All unofficial so far, but you can count on support all around.
Jeff, you got the second power boat from the 58th?
The second power boat and a promise of two of the best crews this side of salt water.
What about the chemical unit and Corps Artillery?
Yeah, they'll be standing by. The 388th to blank out the river with a smoke screen if we need it. And count a battery fire ready to tie up any opposition in case they start nosing around.
Yeah, that's really a team you're lining up. Larry, this copper spaghetti of yours is going over in style.
This was a team job. And as Captain Liebeck and the cable specialist of the 51st Signal Battalion pushed through their final preparations, it was with the knowledge that Army engineers, Army ordnance men, Army chemical technicians, and artillery batteries were backing them up. When any Army unit needs aid on a job, the other members of the Army team are there to be called on. In this case, by their own efforts and with the skillful help of the combat engineers and the 568th Ordnance craftsmen, Captain Liebeck and his men were nearly ready to go on the afternoon of the 21st, 2 days before the beginning of the expected favorable tidal period. But then the odds were suddenly shifted again, and it was another service of First Corps' very team that flashed the warning.
Captain Liebeck.
Yes, Sergeant.
Sorry to break in on you and Lieutenant Smith, sir.
It's all right. I just finished checking over the crossing day schedule. What is it?
Well, it's about the schedule, sir. We've just had a call from the sergeant over in the weather section.
Yeah?
They've been working over the reports from the coast, and they say now the top tide water is going to run 18 to 24 hours ahead this month.
Here at our crossing point?
Yeah, that's what they were checking for. 18 to 24 hours ahead here.
Come on in.
Yeah.
You hear that, Jeff? Meteorology says our slack water may come nearly a day ahead of time.
It's got something to do with that near typhoon we had back a couple of days ago, Lieutenant. The water's been backpiling since last night.
Can you have your cable ready to load in the morning?
It may take some black coffee to keep Renzi and Keogh on it after the hours they've been putting in, but... Oh, yes, sir, we can be ready to load in the morning.
All right, that's it. Get going on it, Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
Jeff, have a phone. If you'll hit Treadway Bridge Company on the power boats, I'll see what chemical and artillery can do.
With or without black coffee, every outfit called on came through. Early the following morning, the two power boats towed the outside special raft down to the loading point, and the careful, muscle-straining loading began. Well over a mile of the spliced, tightly sleeved, heavy, watertight phone cable had to be coiled in 5 great figure eights on the aluminum disc. And as the loading reached completion...
Liebeck, 51st Signal. Calling field control, 388 Smoke Generator.
388 chemicals standing by.
We're almost ready for takeoff and no enemy activity yet. If we can get over without the smoke, we're going to try it. We may be able to cut the crossing time to an hour.
If you need it, we've got it. If you don't signal, we'll keep standing by till you splice up across.
Thanks. Liebeck, calling artillery observer.
We're watching you sweat, Captain. All still quiet over here.
Can you still see our people across?
I'm up on a 30-foot cliff. Anyone likes a cigarette over there, I can almost tell you what brand. You're doing all right.
Well, there's the last coil coming on. This is where we shove off.
Let's hope your luck holds. Good cruise to you.
Thanks. What's that, Sergeant?
All cable aboard, ready to pay out, Captain.
The upstream power boat leaning in, Jeff?
Both boats set and looking for that arm signal.
Let them have it, Jeff. Course straight over and easy does it.
Let her go, Skipper! Straight over and easy does it! A fishing trip we're on.
It's a heavier line than I ever want to use for fishing. Sergeant, there's another one of those sleeves coming up. They giving you any trouble as they pay out?
Wouldn't know the splices from straight cable, Captain, as far as the handling goes. Those sleeves are on for keep.
Hey, Lieutenant, planes coming over the...
Planes? Is that where the commies held on?
Take it easy, Steve. They don't sound like...
No, they're not. You can see them now. There are guys, Lieutenant. Lights down to have a look at the engineers' Navy.
Easy, Jeff. That's right. Tell them to keep pressure on to hold the raft in against the bank.
Hey, Steve! Give those guys in the jeep a hand, will you? Getting this pulled away.
What about this for a landing, Captain? Aluminum gangplank, those jeeps to help get this last cable up to the terminal, and still no sign of the red.
Well, they couldn't stop us now if they wanted to, Sergeant. We're over. How long do you figure on getting up to the terminal and wrapping up the last splicing?
That's not so rosy, Captain. We'll need 2, maybe 3 hours more to get connected up. It'll be dark in an hour.
You've got the jeep. We'll pull them in close, get tops over the headlights, and finish up with those.
Hey, Captain, we're in.
There she is, Captain. Want to try the new line?
Make sure you're getting through.
Swimming is. Calling command post, 51st signal.
Hey, what's with you, Larry? You give up on our catfishing expedition?
We're calling from the East Bank, Renzi. How are they biting on your side of the Hahn?
Calling from... You're over, and this is on the new line?
Yeah, get the CO if you can. Captain Liebeck's got his report to me.
Right, just a second.
Your phone, Captain.
Thanks, Sergeant. Nice going. Liebeck, calling 51st command post.
Captain, you over?
Thanks to the men here and Lieutenant Smith, and about 9 other outfits, Colonel. Yes, sir, we're over. Company B, 51st Signal Battalion, was cited by 8th Army for exceptionally meritorious conduct between May and November 1952, while the submarine cable project was effected across the Han River. This message is of vital importance to every American, but it's particularly important to the young men who are listening. For today, the rapidly expanding United States Army is depending on you to do a vitally important job. Qualified technicians are needed, and the Army is prepared to train you in one of the interesting career fields necessary to its operation. You can become a radio or radar technician. You can study meteorology, mechanics, electronics, photography, and many others. Yes, the finest technical training schools in the world will be available to you when you enlist in the United States Army. Why not visit your nearest United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station today? The need is urgent. This has been another program on Proudly We Hail, presented transcribed in cooperation with this station. Proudly We Hail is produced by the Recruiting Publicity Center for the United States Army and United States Air Force Recruiting Service. This is Kenneth Banghart speaking and inviting you to tune in this same station next week for another interesting story on Proudly We Hail.
Kreml Hair Tonic and Kreml Shampoo present the new adventures of Sherlock Holmes, starring Nigel Bruce as Dr. Watson and Tom Conway as Sherlock Holmes. Well, once again, it's time for that weekly visit with our good friend and host, Dr. Watson. Let's join him, shall we?
Ah, there you are, Mr. Bell.
Good evening, Dr. Watson. Well, have you quite recovered from your holiday festivities?
I think so, my boy, and I was particularly flattered by the number of friends who were kind enough to remember a rather elderly and lonely doctor at this time of year.
Well, as long as you keep telling those swell Sherlock Holmes stories, you'll never be lonely, Dr. Watson.
Then I'd better get on with tonight's new adventure. It involved us in one of the most shocking scandals of the 19th century. A scandal that, had it ever emerged in the light of day, might easily have brought ruin and disgrace to one of the most famous men who ever came a member of the House of Lords.
Now, this one I've got to hear. But first, I have a message for our listeners. Today, more than ever before, I think men realize how important it is to keep their hair neatly groomed. And men, may I ask you this about the preparation you use? Does it give your hair that old-fashioned, greasy, patent leather look? When you run your hand back over your hair, does your hair feel greasy, sticky, or dirty? Does grease come off on your hand or hat band? If it does, then be smart, men. Change at once to Kreml Hair Tonic. This highly specialized hair tonic contains a special combination of hair grooming ingredients which is found in no other hair tonic. That's why Kreml keeps your hair in place longer with such a handsome, well-groomed look. When you use Kreml, you can run your hand back over your hair, and, men, it's really a pleasure. No grease comes off on your hand. And I'm sure you'll enjoy the way Kreml always looks and feels so clean on your hair and scalp. Let it keep your hair looking handsome at all times. Buy a bottle of Kreml at any drug counter. Ask for an application at your barber's. Kreml, Kreml Hair Tonic. Now, Dr. Watson, how about the 19th century scandal in which you and the great Sherlock Holmes became involved?
Well, Mr. Bell, that adventure began in the very early days of the great man's career. World acclaim and handsome fees were some years ahead of him. And in those times we spent many long evenings discussing whether a decent living could be obtained by the practice of criminal detection. On the day that this particular story began, we just finished our breakfast. Holmes, a curved pipe clenched between his teeth, was scanning the personal columns of the morning paper. I can almost hear him now, as he said...
Dear me, Watson, the agony column of the Times is more than usually barren this morning.
Are you looking for a possible client, Holmes?
Naturally. Since we already owe Mrs. Hudson for 2 months' rent here, and our doorbell has been frighteningly silent during that period, I must see what possible service I may render these unhappy correspondents.
Well, I glanced over the column, but I couldn't see anything very promising.
No, Watson, it's a rag bag of bizarre happenings. What a chorus of groans, cries, and bleatings. One skims through them, and what does one glean? Lady with a black boa at the Princess Skating Club wishes to meet gentleman who was kind enough to... That we may ignore, I think.
Yes, she doesn't sound as though she needs your services.
Here's one. Surely Jimmy will not break his mother's heart. That appears to be irrelevant. If the lady who fainted on the top deck of the Brixton bus... She doesn't interest me either, Watson.
No, probably anyone else who wasn't on that bus.
Every day my heart longs for... bleat, Watson. All this twaddle is unmitigated bleat.
Very disheartening, Holmes. You haven't had a case for over 2 weeks.
Yes. Sometimes I think I chose the wrong profession. What do the public, the great unobservant public who can hardly tell a weaver by his tooth or a compositor by his left thumb, care about the finer shades of analysis and deduction? As to my own little practice, it seems to be degenerating into an agency for recovering lost lead pencils and giving advice to young ladies from boarding schools.
Holmes, come over here to the window.
What's wrong, Watson?
Look at that man walking down the street. He's looking at the numbers of the houses.
Let's hope 221B is the number he's searching for. What do you make of him, Watson?
Well, let's see, what do I make of him? Well, I say that he is a foreigner. Yes, foreigner. Look at those flashy clothes and his pointed moustache.
Oh, don't be misled by externals, old chap. Observe the steady, controlled gait. No trace of the light agility of the Latins or the military heaviness of the German. No, Watson. I think an English gait in foreign attire would suggest an expatriate Englishman, only just returned from a stay abroad.
He is coming here, Holmes.
Meet him on the stairs, Watson. It'll save Mrs. Hudson a trip.
Yes, all right, you are. It's all right, Mrs. Hudson. How do you do, sir? How do you do? Would you please come along up? That's right. Straight up here. In here.
Which of your fellows is Sherlock Holmes?
I am, sir. And your name is...
Tremaine. Reginald Tremaine.
I'm Dr. Watson. Sit down, won't you, Mr. Tremaine?
My business won't take long. Holmes, I need protection, and I'm prepared to pay for it.
Protection from what?
My life's been threatened. The police wouldn't do a thing for me, so I've come to you. I've told you detective fellows will do anything for money.
Oh, well, then you've been misinformed, sir. My friend...
Your friend is very interested in Mr. Tremaine's problem, Watson. Pray continue, sir.
Holmes, I want you to warn my cousin. Tell him you'll get nowhere by threatening me. Frighten the wits out of him if you can. I'll give you £20, and another 20 if I need you again.
And who is your threatening cousin?
Lord Darlington.
Oh, really? Charming fellow.
He's a scoundrel. But his title impressed Scotland Yard. That's why they wouldn't help me. Well, even a title can be vulnerable. A public scandal would shake him. And that's what is going to happen if he threatens me any more. And you can tell him so from me, Holmes.
I've always heard of Lord Darlington as the very model of an English aristocrat. Why should he threaten you, Mr. Tremaine?
That's none of your business.
Oh, my soul, none of your
Your job is to see that he doesn't carry out his threat of thrashing me within an inch of my life.
Very well. For £20, I shall warn Lord Darlington that I stand between you and a thrashing. The fee will be paid in advance, please.
I have it in this envelope here. And I expect immediate action, Holmes.
You shall have it, Mr. Tremaine.
Holmes, the man's insufferable. Why'd you take on the case? He's a bounder. Let him get thrashed.
These 4 crisp £5 notes persuade me otherwise, Watson. We owe money to Mrs. Hudson, and your medical practice shows little signs of picking up. I must take what fees I can.
How can my practice pick up when I spend half my time chasing all over the country with you?
In any case, Watson, ask yourself why such a man as Lord Darlington should threaten Tremaine with physical violence. Obviously, only because Tremaine is himself in some way a threat to Lord Darlington. There may be yet another fee in this case, and a much fatter one.
You're going to see Lord Darlington at once?
Yes. I'd ask you to come with me, old chap, but after your remark about chasing all over the country, I hesitate to waste your time.
Rubbish. I was only joking, and you know it, you silly fellow. Of course I'm going with you, Holmes. Get your coat and hat. The game's afoot.
£10,000, my dear cousin, or the scandal will be spread all over London.
It's preposterous, Reginald. And I warn you that if you continue in this vein, you'll get that thrashing, I promise.
Oh, no, I won't. I've engaged a detective fellow by the name of Sherlock Holmes. He's going to act as a bodyguard. So you'd better not try any tricks. He should be here any moment.
How dare you bring a stranger into this mess? How dare you?
That's right, my dear cousin. Bolster up your courage with the brandy bottle.
Be quiet, Reginald.
It'll cost you £10,000 to keep me quiet.
I won't pay it.
The scandal will make pretty readings in the newspapers.
Before we go any further, Reginald, I insist on one thing. I shall bring Lady Darlington to here, and you must make this shocking accusation to her face.
I shall be delighted to.
Yes, Jenkins, what is it?
Excuse me, Your Lordship, but there's a Mr. Sherlock Holmes and a Dr. Watson to see you. I told them that you were engaged, but they seem most insistent.
Better have them come in, my dear cousin. We may need independent witnesses.
Oh, very well. Show the gentleman in, Jenkins.
Yes, Your Lordship.
And then if you'll ask Lady Darlington to come here, I'll be very glad to make my accusation in public.
It's blackmail, Reginald. That's what it is. You'll never get away with it.
Won't I? I think you'll be surprised.
Mr. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson.
Allow me to introduce my cousin, gentlemen, Lord Darlington.
How do you do?
Jenkins?
Yes, Your Lordship.
Ask Lady Darlington to step in here for a moment.
Yes, Your Lordship.
Lord Darlington, I greatly admired your speech in the House of Lords on tax reform. I only wish we had met under different circumstances. As it is my duty to...
That's all right, Holmes. I've already told my dear cousin that I'd engaged your services. I want you both here as witnesses.
Witnesses? To what?
Reginald has made a shocking accusation. As soon as my wife comes here, I'm going to insist that he repeat the statement to her face. There you are, Clara.
I just put
Gordon to sleep, dear. Hello, Reginald.
How are you, Clara? My dear, I want to introduce Mr. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson.
How do you do? Would you sit down, won't you? Albert, what's wrong? You all look so dreadfully serious.
Clara, my dear, Reginald has made a shocking accusation. It concerns you, and I insisted that he repeat it in your presence.
An accusation against me?
Yes, Clara, my dear. You see, I'm requesting a paltry sum for concealing my knowledge of the Darlington substitution scandal.
Substitution? What on earth do you mean?
Well, who should understand me better than you? The baby asleep upstairs. The supposed heir to the Darlington title is not your child.
That's a lie. How dare you say that, Reginald?
Lord Darlington, surely you were present at your son's birth?
Well, as a matter of fact, I wasn't. I was abroad on government business at the time. My wife went to the country with a paid companion. My son was born there.
Oh, no, my dear cousin. A son was born there, and then it was passed off as yours.
That's a foul lie. Albert, make him leave this house.
I'm afraid, Clara, my dear, that, well, he's threatened to go to the newspapers. We must hear him out.
Lord Darlington, surely the matter is not hard to settle. You say your wife had a companion. Confront her with the story. She can establish the truth of the matter.
Yes, of course she can, but where is she? I haven't seen Maud Harris since she left me a year ago.
Well, then I have a surprise for you, Clara. She's waiting in my cab outside now. I'll tell Jenkins to send her in. Jenkins?
Yes, sir?
Ask Miss Harris to join us. She's waiting in my cab.
Yes, sir.
Albert, I don't know what devil's work Reginald's up to, but you don't believe him, do you?
Well, of course not, Clara, darling.
Mr. Tremaine, how did you get in touch with this Miss Harris?
For an employee, you ask a lot of questions, Holmes. I met Maud Harris at Brighton last week. As soon as she knew I was the black sheep of the Darlington clan, she thought we might profitably put our heads together.
And so you organized with the idea of blackmailing this poor lady.
Such a valuable secret is surely worth a few £1,000, Dr. Watson.
Maud. Yes, Lady Darlington, it's me.
You're just in time to settle a most important truth.
I'll handle this, Reginald. Young lady, as I understand it, you claim to know that the boy lying upstairs is not my son.
You should know better, Your Lordship. He's mine. Maud, how can you tell such a lie? It's no lie, and you know it, Lady Darlington. Your child was born dead. Albert, make her stop saying such things.
Clara, my dear, control yourself. Let's hear this shocking tale to the end. Well, go on, young woman.
You were abroad, Lord Darlington. When her ladyship lost her child, she was terrified. She knew how much you longed for a son, and she made this plan. Oh. I was a widow, and I was going to have a child, too. We fooled the villagers, even the doctor, by giving each other's names. And so my son was born as the Darlington heir. Maud, that's the most shocking lie I've ever heard. I can't stay here and listen to any more of it.
Mr. Holmes, I understand you're a man of discretion and ability in such matters. What am I to do?
I would like to ask this young lady a few questions. Miss Harris, why have you chosen to reveal the supposed truth now?
I thought that money could compensate me for the loss of my boy. But I was wrong. A mother's love can never be stifled.
Indeed, and I suppose Mr. Tremaine's plans for blackmail are purely incidental.
Oh, keep out of this, Watson. It's no affair of yours.
Establishing truth and justice is anybody's business, my good man.
Mr. Holmes, I'll pay you any fee you name to disprove this monstrous story.
Oh, no, you don't, my dear cousin. Holmes is employed by me.
Mr. Tremaine, I have undertaken to protect your physical safety. That pledge I will keep. Otherwise, I'm a free agent.
Then you'll accept my commission?
Yes, Lord Darlington, on one condition.
And what's that?
You have asked me to disprove this story. I would prefer that you ask me to establish the truth.
Of course, Holmes, and spare no expense. Remember, the honor of the Darlingtons is at stake.
Well, Holmes, little did I think when Tremaine called on us this morning that we'd end up the day tramping a village lane in Surrey, looking for a Dr. Godfrey.
And yet, that gentleman must surely be able to give us the final answer. Lady Darlington said that he attended
Yes,
her.
but supposing the companion's story was true, and they had changed names.
Even so, the good doctor will certainly know whether the boy was born to a slight, blonde woman like Lady Darlington, or a brunette Amazon like Maud Harris.
Well, here's the doctor's house. They said in the village it was the one with the gabled roof.
No lights visible. I hope the doctor's not out.
Doesn't seem to be any answer. Confounded. I don't believe there's anyone at home.
And you will observe, Watson, that this morning's delivery of milk still stands on the doorstep. Curious. Let's explore a little.
Well, perhaps the doctor's got away for a few days.
If so, he's a very careless man. Look, that window's wide open.
Do you think we might go in and look round?
We not only might, we will go in. Too much is at stake to stand on ceremony. Strike a match, Watson.
Right, you are. I like that lamp. There you are. Holmes! Holmes, look! The figure slumped over the desk.
Someone has reached the doctor before us.
He's been shot through the chest. He's dead, Holmes.
How long would you estimate he's been dead, Watson?
About 24 hours, I say.
So now we've become involved in murder as well as blackmail.
Well, the answer's perfectly obvious to me. Tremaine came here and shot him. He knew that he could never blackmail Lord Darlington while this doctor was still alive.
Not necessarily, Watson. If the story of the substitution is true, you must realize that one other person would have an equal motive for murder.
Great Scott, Holmes, who?
Lord Darlington himself.
In just a moment, we'll rejoin Dr. Watson and Sherlock Holmes as they endeavor to solve the mystery. But first, they say New Year's resolutions are made to be broken. But here's one which should pay you big dividends to keep. Resolve to take better care of your hair, to keep it better groomed, your scalp hygienic. Start using Kreml Hair Tonic at once. You see, Kreml is a highly specialized hair tonic. It contains a special combination of hair grooming ingredients which is found in no other hair tonic. That's why it keeps hair neatly in place longer and gives the hair such a natural, well-groomed appearance, never greasy or sticky. But men, Kreml does lots more than keep hair looking attractive. Its light oils have a fine lubricating effect on a dry scalp. At the same time, it removes loose dandruff. And a quick massage with Kreml stimulates the circulation of blood in the surface of the scalp. Notice how alive, how invigorated your scalp feels. And men, you like to rub Kreml on your scalp because it's such a clean hair tonic. Never feels greasy or sticky. And if your hair is so dry that it breaks and falls when you comb it, Kreml actually helps condition the hair, in that it makes it feel softer, more pliable, and looks as if it had some body to it. So men, for better groomed hair and a hygienic scalp, change to Kreml. Kreml. Kreml Hair Tonic. Well, Dr. Watson, so you went to interview that village doctor and arrived there to find him dead.
Yes, Mr. Bell, but before we reported the tragedy to the police, Sherlock Holmes conducted an intensive search for the dead man's room. After a moment, he turned to me and said,
Watson, we must see what the inanimate objects in this room can tell us. Aha. Here's the doctor's appointment pad. Let's see who his last visitor was.
Look, there's the name of Darlington.
Yes, but that tells us little. If the companion's story is true, the word Darlington could refer to either of the women or to Lord Darlington himself. But what are these letters scribbled before the word Darlington? Why must doctors have such illegible handwriting?
Doctors don't have illegible handwriting.
I disagree. In fact, I've often thought they train you to write badly in medical colleges. Yes. The letters are R-E,
Re, Darlington. That means that someone was calling about the Darlington case.
A fact we already knew.
Yes,
Let's see what else we can find. Hello. Look over here on the sideboard.
Brandy decanter with a stopper cloud.
And one glass that has been drunk from.
The killer must have had a drink after he shot the doctor.
And in so doing, I think he gave us the clue to his identity.
Oh, how?
There's a speck on the rim of this glass. I think it's... the very thing, the doctor's microscope. Most convenient.
What does it tell you, Holmes?
Wait a minute. I was right. This speck on the glass is wax.
Wax? Then that means the murderer used a candle.
Oh, no, Watson.
Oh, then...
Come on. We must go back to the village and report his death. And then we'll catch the next train to London.
Aren't you going to stay here and help the police?
Why should I? Beyond telling them the name of the murderer.
You mean you know who did it?
Of course. And so should you.
Well, I don't.
But we don't know the answer to the Darlington substitution scandal. That answer, Watson, still lies in London. £9,500, £10,000.
Well, there you are, Reginald.
Thank you, my dear cousin.
I'll put the money in my bag, Reginald.
Mr. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson.
Lord Darlington, that sheaf of banknotes in Miss Harris' hand. Surely you didn't pay the blackmail.
I discussed the matter with my wife, Mr. Holmes. She's deeply upset. We both agreed that the scandal, once started, would cling to us for life, even if it was disproved later. That's why I paid the money.
You engaged me as your representative in this case, Lord Darlington. Miss Harris, give that money back at once.
It was a gift from Lord Darlington, in front of a witness. If you try to touch it, I shall send for a policeman.
That won't be necessary. 2 of them are waiting in the anteroom now.
Police? Oh, Holmes, you shouldn't have done it. I wanted no breath of this scandal to emerge from beyond these 4 walls.
The fact that police are here has nothing to do with the problems of blackmail. I brought them here to apprehend a murderer.
A murderer? Well, what do you mean?
Dr. Godfrey, your wife's physician, was shot dead during the past 24 hours.
He was killed before he could tell us the true answer to the parentage of the child upstairs.
Murdered? Oh, what a dreadful thing. Have you any idea who did it?
Every idea, Lord Darlington. But before I expose the criminal, I'd be obliged if you'd bring Lady Darlington here. And also the child.
Oh, very well, Holmes. This is going to be a terrible shock to her.
You're suddenly very quiet, Mr. Tremaine.
Am I? I was wondering who might have killed Dr. Godfrey.
Fortunately, we don't have to wonder. The murderer left a clue. After he'd committed the crime, he made the mistake of taking a drink.
Darlington's quite a drinking man, you know.
And you have been known to take a drink on occasions, too, Mr. Tremaine. For instance, after you'd killed Dr. Godfrey.
That's right. What rubbish are you saying?
You see, the murderer left a tiny blob of wax on the glass.
Oh, what does that prove? Merely that someone had been carrying a candle.
But this wasn't candle wax. It was cosmetic wax, such as you use to wax that pointed moustache of yours.
Reginald.
All right, all of you, I'm getting out of here.
He snatched my bag. Reginald, come back here.
I'll go after him.
No, Watson. The police are prepared to arrest him, but not the young lady. We shall need her cooperation in the last act of this little tragedy.
Surely the whole thing's clear by now. If Tremaine killed the doctor, obviously the whole story about the substitution is a lie.
Not necessarily. Even if it were true, the doctor was still a menace to his plans. How could he and Miss Harris ask the highest price for their secret when the doctor also knew it? No, Watson. Tremaine had a motive for murder either way. In the meanwhile, I must set the stage before Lady Darlington gets here. Where'd I put that parcel? Oh, here it is.
What the devil have you got in there, Holmes?
A present from a plumber friend of mine. Though the object in this package is only a simple tool of his trade, I feel that it may give us the answer to a peer's inheritance.
Oh, my soul, you're being very mysterious.
In a few moments, I propose to conduct a test. You must hide outside the windows. When I turn down the gaslight over the mantel here, Watson, I want you to strike a match, apply it to the object in this package, and toss it through the open window. At the same time, cry out the word fire at the top of your voice.
I remember that.
I think the results of the experiment may prove quite startling. Lord Darlington, now that all the principals in this case are assembled, I shall conduct my experiment.
Very well, Holmes.
I don't see why I had to bring the boy down here. It's long past his bedtime.
I assure you, Lady Darlington, that his presence is absolutely essential. Please place him in the bassinet on the sofa.
All right.
That's it. And you, Miss Harris, will you be good enough to place your handbag on the table?
Very well, Mr. Holmes. But no funny business now. The police took it away from Reggie and gave it back to me. That money's mine.
Each of you ladies claim to be the mother of that boy. Since scientific tests of parentage are notoriously unreliable, I shall conduct a simple experiment which I think may give us the truth in this matter. Now, I want both you ladies to come toward me with outstretched hands. That's it. I turn down the gaslight over the mantel, so.
Fire! Fire!
Oh, dear, darling.
It's all right. If you look closely, you'll observe that this object is a perfectly harmless plumber's smoke rocket.
Fire!
You can drop the masquerade, Watson. The case is solved.
Oh, is it Holmes?
Holmes, what on earth are you up to?
You'll notice that on the cry of fire, Miss Harris ran for her handbag containing the £10,000. Lady Darlington instinctively rushed to her son. I think, Lord Darlington, that there can no longer be any question of the child's parentage.
Midnight. It's been a long day, Holmes.
Yes, but profitable, Watson. A very profitable day's work indeed.
Yes, 1,000 guineas from Lord Darlington.
And don't overlook the 20 pounds that Mr. Tremaine
I certainly shan't. He retained you for protection, and you end up by sending him to the gallows.
A fate that he richly deserves. I only wish I could have persuaded Lord Darlington to prosecute Miss Harris. Blackmail is a devilish crime.
It's funny to think that a simple plumber's rocket smoked out the truth.
Yes. Though, you'll remember, I've had occasion to use the instrument before. When a woman thinks her house is on fire, her impulse is at once to rush to the thing she values most. It's a perfectly overpowering instinct.
Well, you certainly took advantage of the fact.
Ah, well, Watson, you may remember the old Persian saying, there's danger for him who taketh the tiger cub, and danger for whoso snatches delusion from a woman.
Oh, really, huh?
Oh, yes, Watson. There's as much sense in Hafiz as in Horace, and as much knowledge of the world.
Well, Dr. Watson, that was a very exciting story.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Incidentally, don't you think you'd better tell our listeners about the change of day and time for our next meeting?
Yes, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, our next broadcast will be on Monday, January 13th, over these same stations. And better consult your newspaper for the time. Girls, have you noticed how men can't help but admire the bright, shimmering highlights in a woman's hair? Then why not follow the advice of the famous $1 Million Powers models? Girls noted for their glossy, bright hair.
Powers models wash their hair with Kreml shampoo. This amazingly beautifying Kreml shampoo actually glamour bathes each tiny strand of hair and uncovers all its natural radiant luster.
Yes, and Kreml shampoo never dries the hair. In fact, it has a beneficial oil base which helps keep the hair from becoming dry or brittle.
Its luxurious active foam thoroughly cleanses the hair and scalp and removes all loose dandruff as well as the dirt.
So, ladies, buy a bottle of Kreml shampoo at any drug counter. See how easy it is to glamour bathe your hair to a vision of tantalizing loveliness. Kreml, Kreml shampoo. Now, Dr. Watson, how about next week?
It's not next week, Mr. Bell. It's a week from next Monday.
Yes, of course. Well, what story are you going to tell us a week from next Monday?
I think I'll tell you about the Devil's Foot.
The Devil's Foot? What was that?
I won't tell you now, Mr. Bell, but I will say that Sherlock Holmes and I never encountered a more gruesome or a more horrible mystery.
Tonight's new Sherlock Holmes adventure was suggested by an incident in Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's story, A Scandal in Bohemia. Nigel Bruce appeared by permission of California Pictures. Tom Conway through the courtesy of Eagle Lion Pictures. This is Joseph Bell speaking for Kreml Hair Tonic and Kreml Shampoo and inviting you to be with us 1 week from Monday. That's January 13th, when Dr. Watson will tell us about the Devil's Foot. ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
The two episodes you have just heard, The Night Before Christmas, starring Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce, and The Darlington Substitution, starring Tom Conway and Nigel Bruce, are a 1990 copyrighted production of 221A Baker Street Associates. The Sherlock Holmes stories and the characters of Sherlock Holmes and Dr. John H. Watson were created by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and are used with the kind permission of Dame Jean Conan Doyle. I hope you enjoyed these two long-lost Sherlock Holmes adventures as much as I enjoyed them back in the golden days of radio. This is Glenn Hall Taylor. Thank you for listening.
Wine does not pay. It was easy, Julie. Easy as swiping an apple from a fruit stand. Now I'm in with the big shots.
And they pay you enough so you can buy me a ring like this?
What they pay me don't count. What I pick up on the side, that is something else again.
Pick up? But that's muslin Inrex. They'll kill you.
What they don't know won't hurt me.
They'll find out. They always know. Men like that.
They will make more money than ever before. When that happens, they never ask questions. Men like that.
I know about the brothers. They like to hear people scream.
I know about them, too. They'll never hear me scream. Now stop worrying, darling. If there's any screaming to do, let the brothers do it. When the time comes, I will see to that.
In the interest of good citizenship and law enforcement, we present Crime Does Not Pay, based on the famous Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer series of short subjects. In just a moment, you will hear The Recruit, starring Charles Corbett. Now, Crime Does Not Pay, starring Charles Corbin as Rex Barrett in The Recruit. The vast majority of our American cities began as villages. As they grew and spread, each succeeding generation of builders left its mark in styles of architecture in the direction of the expanding built-up areas. Behind each mark, deterioration set in. The old houses began to sag. Dirt accumulated. The people who lived in the old houses remained there, mostly because they could not afford to go anywhere else. Thus, the slums came to American cities, and with them, the people of the slums. Occasionally, the younger generation managed to get away. Mostly, they stayed. And the stronger among them began to exploit the weak. This was the pattern into which Rex Barrett was born. This was the pattern within which Marty and Richie Amboy, the brothers, operated and grew wealthy. Typical of their operations was the visit Richie and his henchman Hatchet paid to Pop Sanders' candy store.
We're here, Pop.
Yeah, we're here.
Payday, Pop.
I told your brother I got nothing to pay.
You got a cash register. Pay.
When I pay you, I got to raise the sodas, the cones. I lose customers.
Cut it, Pop. Every other store around here pays. They had to raise their prices, so you get their customers. Now you pay.
I don't do it.
All right, Hatchet. The counter. With pleasure.
No, you don't do it.
Shut up. Already fixing that counter is going to cost more than we charge in a month for protection against accidents. Now pay.
I don't do it. I'll call the police. You hear? I'll call the cops.
All right, Hatchet. Let me hear him scream. With pleasure.
No, give me.
Good work, Hatchet, good work. Now you got a busted arm, Pop, and a doctor bill to get it fixed. Next time, the other arm and maybe a leg or two. We'll be back. You'll pay. Let's go, Hatchet. Back to the office, Hatchet. Check. Mind if I come along, Mr. Amboy? We got company in the back seat, Hatchet.
You want I should stop, boss?
No. If he talks fast enough, my heater won't go off. He's covered. Keep driving. You hear a backfire, just drive out to the dumping ground instead of the office. All right, now start spieling, you. I'm Rex Barrett. So what? Never heard of you. I want to work for you and your brother. Just like that. You want to work for me and Marty. Why? I want to make dough. There's nothing in a legit job, not enough for me. All right, keep talking. I know about you and your brother. I see you going to the candy store. Leave the car. When you busted the old geezer's flipper, I hopped in the back seat. Look, Mr. Amboy, I want to learn the business. You and your brother are the best guys to learn from I know of. I'm strong and I keep my mouth shut. Let me work for you, will you? You hear him, Hatchet? He thinks me and Marty is good teachers. Well, what do you know?
A wise guy.
Or a smart guy. Okay, Barrett. I'll take you to Marty.
And if he okays you, you're in.
Oh, Rex. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, I kind of like the way it sparkles in the light myself.
Oh, me with a diamond ring. Oh, thanks, Rex. Thanks.
There's gonna be more from where that came from, baby. If you're nice to me.
If I'm nice to you.
Huh?
Oh, Rex. Rex. How's that?
For a sample, not bad.
For his sample, this isn't bad either. How'd you get it, darling? How? Where?
I'm working for the Amboys.
The Amboys? Well, how, Rex? How'd you get with them?
It was easy, Julie. Easy as swiping an apple from a fruit stand. Now I'm in with the big shots.
And they pay you enough so you can buy me a ring like this?
What they pay me don't count. What I pick up on the side, that's something else again.
Pick up. That's muscling in, Rex. They'll kill you.
What they don't know won't hurt
They'll
me.
find out. They always know. Men like that.
They'll make more money than ever before. When that happens, they never ask questions. Men like that.
I know about the brothers. They like to hear people scream.
I know about them, too. They'll never hear me scream. Now stop worrying, darling. If there's any screaming to do, let the brothers do it. When the time comes, I will see to that.
Come on in, Barrett. Marty and I want to see you a minute.
Something wrong, boss?
Marty's got something to say to you.
How do you do it, Barrett?
How do I do what, Mr. Amboy?
You've doubled the take in a district we've always had trouble with.
Anything wrong with that?
Not yet. But there could be.
What Marty means, Barrett, is that you push people too far. You yell copper.
Not in my territory. You took me on. I want to make good. I have. Haven't I?
Too good, maybe. Ease off. Now get out.
But I don't see
You
how...
heard my brother, huh? Beat it now. And ease off. Understand?
Sure.
How'd you make out, Rex?
Okay for now. Who's this?
Well, this is Luck Baylor.
So what?
It's like this, Barrett. I've worked with Hatchet here a long time. He tells me you're doing good, so I figure maybe you need another man.
How do I know you're the man? If I need one.
Tell him, Hatchet.
Well, Lug's the best man with an ice pick in the business.
I see. Why are you bringing him to me and not in there?
I've been in the business a long time, Rex. I know who's coming up and who's going down. That's how I stay alive.
I take that as the estimate of an expert. Okay, Lug. You're on. As for you, Hatchet, don't ever count on me going down. Now let's get out of this crummy joint. Okay, Bookie, pay.
I paid off once this week. I don't get enough to stand it twice. And I got hit by a 10-to-1 shot today.
Same story as last week. All right, Hatchet.
No, not the rope. I twisted that. Twisted.
How is this? Let him go. Now pay off to me. If you breathe through the Amboys, you'll get it all the way, understand?
I expected more interest this week than I got, Rex. Honest, I did.
Shut up,
Honest.
Penny Squeezer.
Listen,
You got your interest. You
Yeah,
gave
but-
the Amboys that cut. I know. Now you pay me.
they'd kill me and they'll get you. You can't cut it on them. You're crazy, Rex.
Maybe. I don't think so. I'll make up my own mind. About you, my mind is made up. Lug, go ahead.
No. I want to live. I want to live.
No trouble at all when you know where to give him the pick.
Rex, Bookie squealed.
What? All right. Take care of it.
Hey, ain't True coming along?
I'm waiting for Julie. She was due here 10 minutes ago. Something's wrong.
Oh, dame, she's late.
Not Julie. She knows I don't like it. I'm waiting. You and Luck take care of the bookie. I'm waiting for Julie.
Let me go. I'm late now. Rex will figure this and come after me. Let me go, and I'll never tell him he snatched me. Let me go. I never did anything. I never took anything from you. Let me go.
She's got a pretty face, huh, Richie?
Yeah.
Don't kill me. Don't kill me. It's not me. I didn't do anything. Untie me. Let me go.
Shut up. I'm sick of you.
You heard my brother. Shut up.
You're going back to your Rex.
Won't that be nice, huh?
And when you see him, you tell him we said he ain't too long for this world. Unless he gets out of town in 2 hours.
Then you let me go, huh?
Of course we're letting you go.
How could we send a message to Rex? In fact, we're taking you back to him.
In our big black car with the bulletproof windows. And when you see him, if you can see, you talk to him.
When you're able to talk again.
She screams good, don't she, Richie? Tell him we know he chiseled on the tank. That Hatchet and the Lug are working for him. That he killed Penny Sweeper. That he tried to murder him. That he's finished. That he's done in this town. Done once and for all. Finished.
Slightly damaged, I'm sorry. When it can talk, you get a message.
Julie. Julie.
Hatchet, love.
You won't die. You'll be like new. Like new.
What's going on?
What's the trouble? One of them was in the car. They dumped her like a sack, like this. Pick her up. Take her inside. Get the doctor. Somebody we can trust.
Rex, we got to get out of town.
We stay here. We stay. And they go. The amboys go. They go screaming.
In just a moment, Crime Does Not Pay will continue with The Recruit. Now we continue with Crime Does Not Pay, starring Charles Corbin as Rex Barrett in The Recruit. They mended Julie. They found a doctor whom they could trust, and Julie was put together again. Her body healed, but Julie inside was different. She thought of vengeance as Rex did now, as something to be hoped for, planned for, waited for. And she was with Rex and Hatchet the night Lug burst in on them in the cheap furnished room, which was their hiding place.
Hey, I got something. I heard something. You coming like that to take an awful chance.
Yeah. Look at Hatchet. Sash cord waiting.
I'm sorry, but I heard something. You said that already. The brothers are in the game back at Louis' garage. Lug, who told you? Remember that little hop-headed newsie likes Julie?
He's only a kid.
Yeah, he's older than you, Julie. Only looks like a kid. He's seen him go in there. So he hightails it over to Domino's bar where he knows I'm hoisting a couple, and he tells me if we want to get even for Julie, we got a chance tonight.
If we want to get even.
Okay. Hatchet, get the car. Lug, check the magazines for the chopper. Julie, what you putting on that coat for?
I'm going along.
You're staying here. Don't worry, baby. You get their scalps for souvenirs. Tonight.
we been sitting here, Rex?
Only an hour.
Not much traffic tonight.
There never is around here. Why?
Headlights in the rearview mirror.
So what? Some dumb driver lost his way.
Keep your eyes peeled. You never know. Hatchet and me will watch the garage.
You figure maybe they used the back way out?
There isn't any.
Them brothers sure must be sitting on top of the world, going in a place with no back door.
And that car's coming awful fast.
What's he slowing down for?
Hey! You were told to get out of town!
The trap!
The look at...
Drive, Hatchet. Look. I can't see. Blood. They creased me. What's with Hatchet?
Yeah, they cut his throat with slugs. You hurt, Rex?
Not bad. Only messy. Get over there. Get the front seat. Drive. Fast. Gotta get out of here. Before the cops.
There you are, darling. This patch gets smaller every time we change the dressing.
It's time now. Time we made a plan.
Now we still got the car. We can get out of town any night.
You want to go, go. But not with me. And I keep the car.
Ain't you had enough yet?
Now there are 3 bills to pay. Julie, Hatchet, and myself.
Promise me something, Rex.
Ask you, Julie.
This time I go along.
No. Too dangerous.
I got a right to go. They hurt me more than anybody.
She's got something there, Rex.
I don't...
You need a driver. With Hatchet gone, somebody's got to drive. You and Lug both will have to handle the guns.
That makes sense.
Rex, you're not going without me this time. If I got to hide in the trunk of the car...
All right. All right, you can go. Might be right at that. The poetic touch. Julie, you will do exactly as I say.
I will. I promise.
All right. Tonight, then.
Want me to check the chopper, boss?
No.
What then?
Just handguns. And a gallon can.
What you gonna do, Rex?
I will have a use for gasoline. First we fill the can, then we get the car and drive over to 35 South Park Drive.
Hey, that's where the Amboys live.
Yes. So it is, isn't it, Luck? And, oh yes, Julie, be sure to bring along some matches, understand? A pack of matches, most necessary.
I don't like this, Rex. I don't like it.
You don't have to like it. Just do it.
The hall outside their apartment and Julie down there alone in the car.
In the service entrance, she's safe. Do you think I'd take chances on Julie?
But supposing they come home with a bunch...
Then we wait until the bunch leave and we go in and get them out. Every detail is worked out, from the car you stole and parked in the proper place to the matches in Julie's bag.
I still don't like it, I tell you.
Shut up, they come.
Oh, brother, this is it.
You will keep your hands exactly at your side.
Don't try anything. Well, the boy wonders.
Our recruit who was so smart he got his girlfriend all...
Shut up. Walk straight ahead. Now or I'll kill you at once.
Sounds as if he meant it.
Walk. To the back of the hall.
You won't get away with this.
If you think that, why are you walking?
With a heater in my back, I walk. As long as you're alive, there's a chance.
Stop here.
Service elevator. Got a car on a service drive?
What else? Push the button, Lug. The car will still be here where we left it. Modern buildings. Even the back elevators are automatic at 3 in the morning. Get in, quickly. Get in. Julie is waiting.
They talked more when I saw them last.
Want to hear them talk, Julie? Say something, Marty.
What for?
I said so.
Not me.
Me neither.
Look, how would you like to open their mouths with the barrel of your gun?
That might be kind of permanent, boss.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. They might bore us. Well, it can wait.
Not much farther, Rex.
I know.
There's nothing out this way, just a few subdivisions.
I know. Where should I take you? Main Street?
Look, Barrett, you could make yourself some dough.
With you out of the way, I'll have the whole town to pick from.
With us out of the way, you'll be a prime target, Barrett. Our boys will find you.
Your boys will work for me. After you've gone up in a blaze of glory.
I don't get it. We'll split the town with you, Barrett. 50-50.
Until you put a slug in my back. I have you now. I don't let you go. You hear that? You're done. Through.
Then why all the rigmarole? Shoot and get it over with.
Shoot? Do you think you get off as easy as that? Do you think after Julie I'll let you off as easy as that? Drive faster, Julie, before I lose my patience and start on them now. Now we are here. Lug, open the door. Go to the other car. Open that door.
Okay.
Now, Julie, you know where we left the can?
Yeah, Rex.
Get it. Stand close to the other car with it.
All right, Rex.
I don't get this.
Yes, another smart idea.
Better. A hot idea. Now get out. Lug, they're coming. If you try to run, shoot them in the knees.
You bet, boys.
Get out, I said.
Okay, we'll get now.
All right. The other car. Get in. One in front, one in back.
I won't do it. I'm not going to do it, I tell you.
Ah, you're alive. There's a chance, you said. You are wrong. Get in.
You can have the town, Barrett. We'll get out.
Into that car. Look, shut the door. Jam the lock, like we did on the other doors.
Right.
I won't open inside or out.
He's half nuts, Marty. Jams the locks and leaves the front window open.
You will see how crazy. Once I promised Julie she would hear you scream. Julie, the can. Pour the gasoline.
I can't. I can't.
Give it to me. So, front seat. Throw some in their faces. Lug, back to our car. Cover them from there.
On my way.
Now, Julie, your matches.
That's right. Wait a minute.
Julie, listen.
You can have anything.
Now they bag, and we do not listen. Julie, your matches.
Give me some money. I have them, Rex.
Light one. Go on, light one.
We'll give you dough. Any amount of dough you
Now
want.
throw it, quickly. Throw it and run to our car.
Hurry, the car's coming.
Throw it, Julie. You will hear them scream.
All right, Rex.
Yeah, now you know. Now you know how it feels. You make others. Now it's your turn.
Rex, stop with your gun. Let's get going.
Rex, come on. I can't stand it. Go on.
Beat Julie. Kill Hanson. Shoot me. Now you know. Now you know.
What goes on here? Stand still.
They own the world. They're taking high like rats.
Don't move any of you. You two in the car. Stay where you are. Your bail's done.
All right, Davis, get on the radio. Homicide in the meat wagon. Tell headquarters for once somebody way out here looked out of a window at the right time and called in. His body's in that fire, a dead hoodlum on the road, and 2 ambulance cases and what's left of that car. You want to bet we get promotions out of this, Davis? You want to bet?
Crime does not pay. Charles Corbin, who has starred as Rex Barrett in The Recruit, will be back with you in just a moment. Now, here in person is Charles Corbin.
Rex Barrett was the perfect recruit for men like Marty and Richie Amble.
Rex came from the concrete and brick jungle where kill or be killed is the basic law, just as it is the law in any kind of jungle. But the fact that they fought each other and as beasts fight and eventually destroyed each other is not the major point. The fact remains that once society eliminates the kind of living conditions which spawn such men, society will cease to pay them tribute. Society will gain and not lose useful citizens. Society will be ready to move from concentration on punishment of crime to the final elimination of crime. It becomes quite apparent from this point of view that for everyone concerned, decent citizens as well as criminals, crime does not pay.
Thank you, Mr. Corbin. Crime Does Not Pay is written by Ira Marion and directed by Mark B. Loeb, with music composed and conducted by John Geist. Technical advisor is Burton B. Tuckus. The events, characters, and names used in the story you've just heard are fictitious. Any similarity is purely coincidental. This is Bob Williams speaking.